Prince Zhao, a deeply cunning and resourceful man, deliberately feigns blindness and lameness. He assumed his bride-to-be was a spy, her mind full of schemes. But Song-gu, whose mind is full of nonsense, constantly clings to him. He wants to unclear meaning, possibly a vulgar or nonsensical phrase related to intimacy. Song-gu was a successful individual in the 21st century, but after being hit on the head by a billboard, he unexpectedly transmigrated into his favorite novel. He was even tasked by an unscrupulous system to marry the disabled prince and help him become the ruler of the world. However, Song-gu refused the mission and discarded the system. Now in this world, he just wants to enjoy life. To escape the marriage, he secretly sneaked out of the He Mansion. Seeing countless business opportunities, he plans to start a business and become the richest man in this ancient era. But he ran straight into a house servants sent to find him. Desperate for freedom, he fled. Reaching a corner, he quickly climbed a tree to escape. But the original body, weakened after nearly drowning, was exhausted after just a few steps. Suddenly, the branch broke. Caught off guard, Song-gu fell, feeling his bones rattle. But when he looked up, a cool, blindfolded, handsome man was right in front of him. In that moment, Song-ji's heart skipped a beat. Blindfolded, in a wheelchair, yet devastatingly handsome, he exuded a unique aura. Wasn't this the sickly Prince Zhao from the novel? His slender fingers sent shivers down Song-ji's spine, and the sexy mole on his neck made Song-gu want to kiss him. "Miss, are you all right?" The deep, melodious voice made Song-gu completely captivated. He was practically drooling, wanting to pounce. Seeing no response, the man sounded a little disappointed. "Miss, did I frighten you?" A guilty Song-gu quickly denied it, desperately suppressing his excitement. But he was puzzled. "I didn't speak just now. Your Highness, how did you know I was a girl?" The man smiled slightly. "I smelled the fragrance of cosmetics. Men don't usually wear that." Feigning composure, Song-gu chuckled, though inwardly he was smitten. To avoid revealing his identity, he claimed to be a maid from the He Mansion, sneaking out to scout her mistress's future husband. He apologized profusely. The man graciously waved it off. "It's all right, but I have something I might need your help with, miss." Song-gu, always ready to serve his idol, immediately perked up. The man pulled a hairpin from his robes. "It's inconvenient for me to go out, so could you please deliver this hairpin to her? I may be physically disabled and not wealthy, but I will never neglect my wife." After they parted, Song-gu, back in the tree, fiddled with the hairpin. In the original novel, Prince Zhao wasn't the main character, but the least favored ninth prince with no special abilities. He relied entirely on his intelligence to ascend the throne. Prince Zhao was merely a supporting character, helping the protagonist succeed. Not only was he disabled, but he had also outlived several wives. Based on the current plot, he should have already outlived several. If Song-gu married him, he'd probably meet the same fate. He found it superstitious, but so what? They wouldn't meet again anyway. Just then, he heard a commotion behind him. It was Qin Shengtian, the protagonist of the novel. Their conversation made Song-ji's heart sink. It turned out that Prince Zhao's previous fiancés were all killed in accidents orchestrated by Qin Shengtian. Even Yuansheng and Song-ji's original body were deliberately pushed into the water by him, making it look like an accident. As long as Prince Zhao lacked powerful family support, he wouldn't challenge him for the throne and would remain a valuable ally. Feeling betrayed, Song-ji's eyes narrowed. "Fine, I won't let you have your way." Back at the He Mansion, everyone was still frantically searching for the runaway Song-gu. Suddenly, there was an urgent knock at the door. The maid who opened it was stunned. The runaway miss had returned. Her parents were equally surprised. Song-gu laughed, claiming he had just gone out for some fresh air. He was now ready to get married. Wenyin, the substitute mother, was utterly shocked. After all, he was previously determined to die rather than marry. Song-gu pointed to his injured head. Now, having fallen into the water and injured himself, his appearance is ruined. Only this blind and lame prince wouldn't dislike him. The foolish parents were instantly delighted. As long as Song-gu married Prince Zhao, their son's official position wouldn't be a worry. Song-gu, sympathizing with the original owner of the body, sighed, selling their daughter for their son's prospects. No wonder the original wanted to escape. Arriving in front of the mirror, Song-gu activated the system and expressed his willingness to accept the mission. After all, he didn't like the feeling of being targeted. He wanted to catch all the rats and personally feed them rat poison. Moreover, he had already accepted the young master's money. Eliminating disasters for him was only right. Isn't it just helping him become king? He could help a brainless boss become a CEO. so this was nothing. Meanwhile, in Prince Zhao's mansion, the returning Lin Yang reported that the He mansion's young lady, who should have drowned and been near death, had somehow revived. The man silently picked up the flower that had fallen by his leg. Every encounter is destiny, and whether to stay or leave after the encounter depends on whether he is worthy of this opportunity. On the wedding day, onlookers flocked to the streets to watch the excitement. Song-gu peeked out, but the groom was not among the wedding procession. Song-gu was a little disappointed. However, it was normal that he couldn't ride a horse with his legs. The onlookers began to gossip. This marriage was bestowed by the emperor. With Prince Zhao's crippled state, how could he receive the bride? Before this, he had already outlived more than a dozen fiancées. Any sane person, how could they be willing to marry a cripple? Even this He mansion's young lady attempted suicide a few days ago because of this. The vulgar words made Song-gu very angry. He picked up a loudspeaker and started his protective mode. I did not attempt suicide. My Zhao Zhao is so sweet, something you people can't understand. The wedding attendant's jaw dropped. Miss, please get back in the palanquin. We're almost to the mansion. Don't be disrespectful. In front of the mansion, Prince Zhao, dressed in red, was waiting in his wheelchair. Even though a red cloth covered his eyes, it couldn't hide his handsome features. Song-gu, mesmerized, blushed. Quickly retreating back into the palanquin, he trembled with excitement. Oh my God, my Qin Zhao is so handsome. When the palanquin settled, worried about the prince's difficulty with his legs, he prepared to get out himself. Unexpectedly, they both lifted the curtain at the same time, their faces meeting directly. Their breaths mingled. This completely stunned Song-gu. Blushing furiously, he quickly turned away. It was a good thing the veil was covering him. This immediate closeness was too much to handle. The man politely extended his hand. I am ashamed that I couldn't personally ride a horse to receive you today. If you don't mind, let me accompany you for the rest of the way. Song-gu was stunned at first, but the next second, he transformed into a devoted admirer and took the man's hand. How thoughtful of Prince Zhao. Seeing that Song-gu was about to step on the ground, the wedding attendant hurried forward to stop him. The bride cannot touch the ground before entering her husband's house. The surrounding crowd started to stir again. Servants should be strong and sturdy. What's the use of just a fancy title? He can't even carry the bride. Song-gu frowned upon hearing this, but the man remained calm. He must have heard these words countless times. So he thought of an idea. Have the servants bring a red cloth to lay on the ground to walk on. No need to bother. I am capable of carrying my wife over the threshold. Before Song-gu could react, a large hand wrapped around his waist. He was clearly surprised to be picked up. This sudden action made him blush and feel at a loss. He simply snuggled into the man's arms like a kitten. He unconsciously leaned against the man's chest. Wow, these pecs feel amazing. Unable to walk, yet he can carry me. This man's strength is incredible. It's not scary that a man's legs are weak as long as his back is strong. We've arrived, my lady. Do you need me to carry you to the main hall? The man's words brought Song-gu back from his reverie. Facing the man's handsome face again, the shy Song-gu bounced up. And my lord, you actually call me my lady. The man chuckled softly. I should have changed my address when we met in the garden the other day. Song-gu. Thinking back to their encounter a few days ago, Song-gu replied, so you really recognize my voice. I thought I disguised it well. Because I can't see, my hearing is naturally more acute. However, I'm quite pleased that Madam didn't flinch after seeing my crippled appearance. A guilty Song-gu stood there, thankful that Prince Zhao was blind and couldn't see his expression. Although Song-gu wanted to escape before, he doesn't anymore. He cheerfully pushed the wheelchair towards the main hall. Let that so-called destined marriage to a guest wife go to hell. In the corner, fifth Prince Qin Xingyang couldn't help but sigh. Prince Zhao lost his legs blocking an assassination attempt on the emperor. I thought he'd at least gain some recognition. Unexpectedly, he's only been given a residence and a wife. They didn't even attend the wedding. Ninth brother, do you think Prince Zhao feels particularly aggrieved? But Qin Shengtian had no interest in such matters. He only felt that Song Ji's ability to smoothly avoid this assassination attempt meant he was definitely not simple. To test him, he ordered someone to secretly scatter pebbles on the path. Then, Prince Zhao, with his excellent hearing, heard the sound and immediately raised his hand to signal the woman to stop. Madam, the path ahead is uneven. Please be careful of your footing. Song Ji's first reaction was that someone was trying to take advantage of the situation to harm the prince. The prince shook his head, indicating he had just heard the sound of pebbles and was afraid she would twist her ankle. But how could Song-gun not understand? He gave a sweet smile and told the prince not to be startled. Then he deliberately stepped on a pebble. Immediately afterwards, he let out a yelp and fell to the ground. He squeezed out tears and cried out in pain. Father and mother, he panicked instantly. What are you doing, throwing yourself on the ground like this? It's utterly embarrassing. Song-gu put on a frail appearance. It seems the emperor's bestowed phoenix crown is broken. Will the He family be punished by His Majesty because of this? Upon hearing this, the two elders immediately deflated. To protect the He family, Father He quickly said it wasn't his fault because he had just seen someone throw pebbles on the ground. This was Uncle Yuan. The male lead, Qin Shengtian, as the instigator, was the first to grab the small servant and asked him what he wanted to do with Prince Zhao. Unexpectedly, this woman forced him to reveal his accomplice with just one move. Since it was Madame who was injured, naturally, Madame will decide. Song-gu deliberately put on a frightened appearance. Sob, I am but a woman. How can I give orders for the prince? It's up to you, your highness. The prince indulgently said, it's all right. Song-gu called out in a high-pitched voice, your highness. Prince Zhao responded, madam. The onlookers, nearly drowned in the saccharine display, were speechless. What are these two doing? The fifth prince stepped forward to interrupt and suggested cutting off one of the servant's arms. Song-gu, in full dramatic mode, threw himself into the prince's arms. Fifth brother, how cruel. While acting, he didn't forget to take the opportunity to grope the prince's abs. Such a good opportunity to cop a feel was simply too wonderful. I appreciate your kindness, brother, but my wife is kind-hearted and doesn't like to see blood. He directly ordered the servant to be expelled from the residence. Unexpectedly, the fifth prince mocked him for being cowardly. His wife fell like that, and he can still tolerate it. What a wimp. The surrounding onlookers echoed, this Prince Zhao is useless. However, Prince Zhao remained unfazed. He knew the other prince was deliberately trying to escalate the situation. I'm already very grateful that you two brothers could attend my wedding. I only want the wedding to proceed smoothly and don't ask for anything else. Ninth Prince Qin Shengtian pretended to be benevolent and exchanged a few pleasantries. Then, disregarding the fifth prince's objections, he personally threw the servant out of the residence. While on the surface, he was venting anger for his seventh brother. In reality, he didn't want the servant to fall into the fifth prince's hands. He looked meaningfully at the terrified woman. It seems it was quite a coincidence that she didn't drown. A timid and foolish wife like her, only thinking about pleasing her husband's family, even staying by that coward Prince Zhao's side, won't amount to much. However, under the veil he couldn't see was Song Ji's look of disdain. This is just the beginning, isn't it? And Prince Zhao's innocent act made him fall head over heels. Then, a barrage of inner praise followed. The prince was a little surprised. Madam, don't you blame me for not standing up for you. Song-gu shrugged indifferently. As a simp, why would I need anything else? The prince was dumbfounded. What are these simp and anything else you speak of? An embarrassed Song-gu quickly changed the subject. Just now, I accidentally revealed my face from under the veil. Your Highness didn't blame me either. After all, everyone says that a woman who reveals her face before the ceremony is improper. No, the anxious prince denied repeatedly. He then grabbed the woman's hand, saying he had never thought that way. But realizing his forwardness, he quickly let go. The man blushed shyly. I will unveil you again when we enter the bridal chamber. Hearing this, Song-gu blushed to the roots of his hair, embarrassed by the thought of the bridal chamber. After the wedding ceremony, the long-restrained Song-gu flopped onto the bed. I didn't expect getting hit by an advertisement would land me such a handsome husband. This is amazing. And the key is, he's that rare, abstinent type, a true gentleman. He's so polite, he doesn't act like royalty at all. He recalled their parting. The man had leaned close to his ear and whispered, as soon as I'm done with the wedding banquet, Qin Zhao will come to be with you, my wife. Thinking of this, Song Ji's face flushed crimson. Did this mean he could openly do what he wanted to do? On their wedding night, the bride couldn't wait to undress her husband. When he asked what kind of experience his husband desired, Prince Zhao was dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, Song-gu, his mind full of suggestive thoughts, lay on the bed, fantasizing. In a little while, I'll not only be able to gaze upon his beautiful face, but maybe even touch his hands and abs. In his excitement, he flailed around like an octopus. Suddenly, a maid knocked on the door, saying that the madam had sent her with wedding cakes. Having not eaten all day, Song Ji's stomach rumbled at the sight of the food. He kindly invited the maid to join him, but the maid became flustered, saying she was a servant and couldn't eat with the master. She then excused herself, saying she had other duties. Her reaction made Song Gu suspect something was amiss with the cakes. Elsewhere, Prince Zhao, having finished the banquet, was about to return to his room. Lin Yang expressed her concerns, suggesting the princess might not be who she seemed and could be a spy sent by a rival faction. The prince said he knew what he was doing and told Lin Yang to stay put while he went himself. Pushing his wheelchair, Prince Zhao arrived at the bridal chamber. Song Gu, having planned his moves, turned around and was once again captivated by the prince's stunning beauty, his heart pounding in his chest. He fumbled for the veil he had removed. My husband, please wait a moment. Prince Zhao, with a look of indulgence, told him to take his time. Catching a scent, Prince Zhao asked if there were wedding cakes in the room. Song Gu, halfway through covering his face with the veil, didn't have time to answer. Before the prince reached for a cake, Song Gu quickly stopped him. Prince Zhao then offered the cake to Song Gu. Flustered, Song Gu stammered, I overreacted. It's just that the origin of these cakes is questionable. To be safe, it's better not to eat them. Just then, his stomach growled loudly. Mortified, Song Gu blurted out, I apologize, my lord, I'm just a little hungry. Prince Zhao gently placed the cake in Song Ji's mouth. His mind went blank. Sensing his apprehension, Prince Zhao said, Eat. It's all right. Song Gu looked at him obediently and began to eat. Prince Zhao looked puzzled. My wife, he asked, do you trust Qin Zhao? Otherwise, why would you so readily eat the cake I offered you? Aren't you afraid it's poisoned? Wiping his mouth, Song Gu replied that he trusted his character. Having transmigrated into the novel, he knew very well that in the original story, Prince Zhao was the son of the emperor and a demonic sect saintess, conceived during a secret visit. Despite growing up in the demonic sect and suffering from blindness, he remained humble and reasonable. Even amidst the palace intrigues, he treated his brothers with sincerity. He even shielded his father from a fatal blow without hesitation. However, he was poisoned and could no longer walk. When the emperor asked what reward he desired, he only asked for a secluded estate where he could cultivate flowers and herbs. In the face of danger, he would sacrifice himself to uphold his principles. A true gentleman. Thinking of this, Song Gu smiled faintly. Because your highness is a kind and magnanimous person. And as you can see, I was right. I ate the cake, and I'm perfectly fine. Not poisoned at all. His answer stunned Prince Zhao. But Qin Zhao is not as good as you say. I am a cripple. I cannot be like other men. I will only bring you shame and ridicule. It's a pity you married me. Song Gu instantly bristled at the words, but couldn't direct his anger at Prince Zhao. Whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, this little maiden knows in her heart. With that said, he was about to continue eating. When Prince Zhao heard him bite into the pastry, he panicked. He fumbled his way to Song Gu, urging him to stop. He frantically shoved his hand into Song Ji's mouth, telling him to spit it out. Not all the pastries on the plate were non-poisonous. The pastry lodged in his throat. Song Gu felt extremely uncomfortable. With a retching sound, he vomited everything, including what he had just swallowed. After rinsing his mouth, he mumbled. Thankfully, he hadn't swallowed that last bite. It seemed that the maid truly had ill intentions. Fortunately, Prince Zhao had the ability to detect poison by smell. He inquired if Song Gu was a maid who came as part of the dowry. But Song Gu didn't want to discuss that now. After all, the wedding night is precious. This little maiden would rather have her husband take the lead and drink the nuptial wine with me. Prince Zhao blushed, surprised by her eagerness. Today is our wedding day. I will not mistreat you, my wife. Prince Zhao slowly lifted Song Ji's veil. Although he suffered from night blindness, he could still discern her beauty. After they finished the nuptial wine, Song Gu was as happy as a child. This wine is really good. Prince Zhao said he had heard Song Gu enjoy drinking, so he had specially prepared it. But Song Gu was more concerned with what came next. He cleared his throat. So, is it time to change clothes and enter the bridal chamber? As he spoke, his small hand rested on Prince Zhao's chest. Prince Zhao awkwardly pushed away the approaching Song Gu. "My wife, are you in such a hurry?" Song-gu suppressed his inner excitement, saying he was worried Prince Zhao would be too tired. But inwardly, he was practically dying of anticipation. Who could resist the chance to admire his idol's physique? Seeing Prince Zhao about to undress, he quickly stepped forward to help. As the outer robe gradually came off, a pair of well-defined pectoral muscles were revealed. With a nosebleed threatening to erupt, Song-gu reached out a trembling hand. "Wow, such amazing abs. I really want to touch them." Prince Zhao frowned in embarrassment, indicating there was no need to remove his trousers. Song-gu stood up, slightly disappointed, but unwilling to give up any opportunity. "Your legs are inconvenient. Why don't I help you onto the bed?" But Prince Zhao declined again, saying he could manage himself. So, using the strength of his arms, he slowly moved himself to the edge of the bed. Then, very gentlemanly, he extended a hand towards Song-gu. "My wife, you can come over now." Song-gu was completely smitten. He tossed his clothes aside and rushed over impatiently. In the original novel, Prince Zhao was completely abstinent, so there was no need to worry about being forced into anything, especially since he couldn't even see. It was a perfect opportunity for some harmless fantasizing. He urged Prince Zhao to rest early, so they could quickly get to the fun part. Prince Zhao's lips curved into a slight smile. "But doesn't my wife want to do something else?" Song-gu was momentarily confused. Then, excitedly, he made a large heart shape with his hands. "What does my husband want?" A little teasing. 69. Or something even more exciting. A flirty girl accidentally transmigrates into a novel, waking up to the sight of enticing 8-pack abs. Reaching out a trembling hand, her blood instantly rushes. On their wedding night, the girl urges her husband to rest early because she knows that in the book, Prince Zhao is completely abstinent and has no interest in marital relations. But Prince Zhao suddenly reminds her that there's something they haven't done yet. Song-gu is taken aback. Are those clear, watery eyes truly unable to see anything? He tentatively waved his hand back and forth in front of Prince Zhao's face. He noticed that Prince Zhao's pupils didn't focus, just like a blind person. Thinking that Prince Zhao had finally gotten the hint, he excitedly made a heart shape with his hands. "So, what does my husband want to do?" 69. A little teasing. Or something even more exciting. Prince Zhao's expression turned serious. "I wanted to remind my wife that we have not yet performed the hair-binding ritual." What does 69 mean? Is there something you wish for me to do? Song-gu was mortified. He quickly pulled out scissors to perform the hair-binding ritual. After they each cut a lock of hair, Prince Zhao leaned close to his ear. "I will treat you even better from now on, my wife. We will be loving and harmonious without suspicion." Song-gu moved and embraced him. "I will also shield you from the wind and rain, my prince." The next morning, Song-gu, still fast asleep, slowly opened his eyes. Upon seeing Prince Zhao's handsome features, he instantly woke up, especially those perfectly sculpted 8-pack abs. Song-ji's blood rushed. While Prince Zhao was still asleep, he reached out and pinched them. "Ow, they're hard." Unexpectedly, the man suddenly spoke. "Does my wife like my waist so much?" Yes. They must be amazing in motion." Song-gu subconsciously replied, "Definitely." Looking up, he saw the man's godlike, sharp features. "Oh my God, I'm screwed." Blushing furiously, he quickly turned around, claiming he was dizzy and had spoken nonsense. The man gently reached out, checking his forehead. "If you're not feeling well, then sleep a little longer." Song-gu jumped up. No. Such gentleness will spoil me." Dressed, Song-gu stepped forward to help the man dress, but a maid's voice came from outside the door. Putting on a high-pitched voice, she called, "Your Highness, I, Chui, have come to dress you." Song-gu immediately stepped in front of Prince Zhao. "What? Do you only dress His Highness?" Seeing Song-gu, the guilty Chui panicked. "Heh. Surprised I wasn't poisoned to death by the shebang." Chui quickly averted her gaze. "I don't understand what Madam is saying. I thought Madam was still asleep, so I only brought one set of clothes." Song-gu laughed, feigning ignorance. "Then you don't need to trouble yourself in the future. Helping my husband dress is my favorite chore." The man behind him took in the entire scene. At the dining table, the man spoke directly. "I said before that I would ensure my wife lives comfortably and peacefully here. This is not just lip service. If Chui is indeed a problem, my wife can decide to expel her from the residence." Song-gu was instantly overwhelmed with happiness. However, it wasn't out of kindness that he hadn't expelled her. Rather, he felt there was something fishy going on and want to play the long game. The man was puzzled and asked him what he meant. Song-gu explained, someone is trying to profit from this. Chuyer poisoning me was simply to take the position of princess consort. If I had eaten the poisoned shibing yesterday, I would certainly have died from the poison this morning. And Chuyer knows that your highness, being blind and with a leg injury, is unable to consummate the marriage and wouldn't touch his new bride. So, she appeared early this morning under the guise of dressing you, wanting to prevent you from coming into contact with your deceased wife. This also explains why she only brought clothes for your highness. Because the dead don't need clothes. Lin Yang found this absurd. We're not fools. How could we let a maid replace the mistress? Song-gu chuckled. Sister, before this morning, you probably didn't know what I looked like, right? Did you only see a Song-gu with heavy makeup and a veil? Lin Yang's heart skipped a beat. Now that she thought about it, she really didn't know his face. In the He Mansion, Song-gu was merely a tool for marriage alliances, rarely leaving the house. His appearance was seldom known to outsiders. And the He family valued their reputation, certainly not wanting their daughter's death to affect their son's official position. Therefore, having Chuyer, who has a similar voice and build, impersonate the princess consort and deceive the incapacitated prince is the simplest method. And Chuyer knew this. After all, Prince Zhao's kindness was well known. So even if she poisoned the bride, the He family wouldn't cause a fuss, and she could successfully take the princess consort's place. Lin Yang found this increasingly preposterous. Our master could never mistake your voice for a maid's. Prince Zhao agreed. After all, his hearing was more acute than ordinary people's. You're right. So this plan probably wasn't conceived by Chuyer, who wouldn't have overlooked such a risk. Someone else wants to use Chuyer against his highness and me. Has your highness never suspected that your difficult life might be deliberately orchestrated by someone? Inwardly, Song-gu knew the ninth prince was behind all of this. He said all this to subtly probe Prince Zhao's rigid mind. He wanted to know Prince Zhao's reaction to this information. If he was the righteous gentleman described in the book, Song-gu would be completely honest and wholeheartedly support his claim to the throne. Then the man spoke. I don't know why my wife is saying these things. However, I have never felt that my current life is difficult in any way. On the contrary, the people around me are very caring. Every day is peaceful and tranquil, and I am incredibly grateful for that. Song-ji's heart skipped a beat. This answer was exactly what he wanted to hear. This foolish and naive Tianshan, Snow Lotus man. He was simply irresistible. He laughed heartily, saying he was being overly sensitive. Then, he deliberately picked up his plate and left the scene. His playful manner made Prince Zhao laugh. Lin Yang was shocked. This was the first time she had seen her master laugh so heartily. Prince Zhao watched Song-ji's retreating figure. Madam has managed to survive until now. Truly remarkable. It would be a pity to let her die. He then ordered Lin Yang to deal with Chuyer. Don't kill her directly. Just ensure she won't breathe a word to ninth brother in the future. For someone like you, the once infamous 100 poison madam of the Jianghu, this should be child's play. The woman bathing was actually trying to trick her blind husband into joining her. Then she could take the opportunity to do as she pleased. But she didn't know that her blind husband could actually see everything. Faced with the woman's alluring figure, Prince Zhao could only grit his teeth and pretend he saw nothing. Just now, Song-gu, noticing the hot water prepared in the room, had jumped in without hesitation. Unexpectedly, a maid's voice came from behind him. This servant has prepared the bath water for your highness. Even though Prince Zhao repeatedly refused, she persisted. This servant is Mrs. Dowrymaid. It is my duty to attend to your bath. But just as she finished speaking, she saw Song-gu sitting in the tub, looking quite pleased. Chuyer's heart skipped a beat. Miss, weren't you just reading in the study? How can books compare to my husband's company? Do you not want me here? The flustered Chuyer wanted to say something more, but Song-gu glared at her repeatedly. I will attend to His Highness's bath. You may leave. The persistent Chuyer wanted to argue further, but a single look from Song-gu sent chills down her spine. I'll take my leave then. When only the husband and wife remained, Song-gu stared intently at Prince Zhao for a long while. Prince Zhao coughed awkwardly, a sense of foreboding washing over him. Sure enough, Song-gu laughed and said, while the water is still warm, Your Highness, please come and bathe. Since my beautiful husband can't see, he won't know I'm already in the tub. I can even enjoy Anyang. But Prince Zhao politely declined, saying he could manage on his own. After all, he only suffered from night blindness. He could see clearly in well-lit areas. But the unaware Sanggu wouldn't give up this chance to feast her eyes. No, what if my husband slips? Prince Zhao slowly removed the silk blindfold from his eyes. He heard Sanggu directing him from behind. Walk to your left, your highness. I'll hold on to you. But when Prince Zhao turned around, he saw the woman standing there, dripping wet. Even wrapped in a towel, her exquisite figure couldn't be concealed. Husband, come here quickly. Prince Zhao was instantly dumbfounded. Frozen in place, he didn't know what to do. Seeing him motionless, Sanggu became a little anxious. Husband, you need to come a little closer, otherwise I can't hold you. Feigning composure, Prince Zhao was speechless. She's already in the tub, yet she's still inviting me in. What is this woman trying to do? He gulped nervously to avoid being discovered that his blindness was a ruse. He had to steel himself and reach out his hand. When his hand touched her wet hand, he deliberately asked why her hand was wet. The clever Sanggu replied that she had tested the water temperature for him. Unwilling to bathe together but forced to feign blindness, Prince Zhao started making excuses, saying his legs were weak and he needed help getting in. He figured if he touched the water on her body while helping her, he could use that as proof she was already bathing and then excuse himself. Sanggu deliberately splashed the water with her foot, wanting him to think she had entered the tub beforehand to help him. Prince Zhao was once again dumbfounded. How could she do this? Before he could come up with another excuse, Sanggu suddenly scooped him up into her arms. My dear husband, please hold on my neck. The utterly innocent Prince Zhao's face flushed crimson. He even felt a little breathless. This woman is too brazen. Carried into the tub, Prince Zhao quickly raised his hand, signaling her to stop. I can manage the rest myself. But how could Sanggu stop there? Taking a towel, she said, allow me to wash your back, my husband. Prince Zhao was completely flustered. This woman truly is shameless. The moment Song Ji's hand touched him, Prince Zhao went completely numb. My lady, you've had a busy day. Why don't you rest early? You don't have to accommodate me. Sanggu, drooling, replied, It's all right. It's no trouble at all. Hearing this, the man's face darkened. Glancing back, he saw Sanggu wiping his mouth with a mischievous grin, his hands still restlessly exploring. This woman is utterly shameless. Prince Zhao frowned, struggling to maintain his facade. He thought that a lady of noble birth should be shy and reserved. Why was she behaving like a commoner, so forward? Could it be she wasn't suited to be his wife after all? While bathing, Sanggu plotted to trick her seemingly blind husband into joining her, so she could take advantage of the situation. But her every move nearly drove the feigning blindness Prince Zhao to the brink. Her behavior was completely unlike a noble lady. This made Prince Zhao suspect that she might not be the real Sanggu. Could it be that her displayed loyalty was all a ruse to gain his trust? To determine if she was an enemy spy, Prince Zhao decided to observe her for a few more days. If she couldn't fulfill her duties as his princess consort and be of use to him, it wouldn't be too late to execute her. The next second, a stinging sensation on his neck snapped him back to reality. He turned around in alarm. My lady, what were you doing just now? Prince Zhao was internally mortified. This woman dared to pinch my mole. Meanwhile, Sanggu was inwardly delighted. That little mole is just too sexy. I couldn't resist. She looked at him with an innocent expression, claiming she thought it was a speck of dust and tried to wipe it off. Prince Zhao mentally facepalmed. This woman always has an excuse ready. Sanggu stood up awkwardly. I've finished washing your back. I'll leave now. As she stepped out of the bath, she nearly exposed Prince Zhao's pretense. His face flushed crimson as he quickly turned away. Heavens, please spare me. Chui'er, hiding outside the room, witnessed everything. I should be the one by Prince Zhao's side, not Sanggu. I will replace you sooner or later. However, a dark shadow flitted past, unseen behind her. The next morning, Chui'er retrieved a packet of powder. She mixed it into Song Ji's favorite red date and lotus seed soup. As she fantasized about becoming the princess consort, Lin Yang suddenly appeared behind her, asking what she was doing. Chui'er quickly hid the remaining powder behind her back. Counting on Lin Yang's failing eyesight, she tried to bluff her way out. If I can make her my accomplice, my plan will go even smoother. She casually picked up the bowl of soup. I saw you were tired, so I wanted to help with the chores. This soup is for the master and mistress. I'll just deliver it to them. But Lin Yang, a master of poisons, could detect the problem with a single sniff. Lin Yang Smirka, you're such a thoughtful girl. Since you're so considerate of me, I should be kind to you as well. Why don't you have this bowl of red date and lotus seed soup? Chui'er's heart skipped a beat. As Lin Yang approached, Chui backed away in fear. No thank you. This is specially made for the mistress. I couldn't possibly. But before she could finish, Lin Yang grabbed her head. Chui was forced to drink the soup, protesting weakly. You have to drink it whether you like it or not. I heard everything you said outside the window last night, you little hussy. Trying to play your little borrowing a knife to kill someone trick in front of me. When it comes to poison, you're still a novice compared to me. Meanwhile, in the back garden, the newlyweds were enjoying their breakfast. Song Gu offered Prince Zhao a steamed bun, saying it was delicious and he should try it. Prince Zhao, pretending to be blind, poked around his plate, perfectly avoiding the bun. Song Gu burst out laughing. I'm sorry, my fault. Inwardly, she was charmed by his adorable act. Prince Zhao feigned embarrassment. It's not your fault, my lady. It's my problem. Song Gu, wanting to tease him, picked up the bun. Let me feed you then. That's inappropriate, he said, blushing. But Song Gu had already moved closer and told him to open his mouth. Prince Zhao was speechless but complied and ate the bun. The two continued their playful charade. Then Prince Zhao mentioned that the next day was the traditional post-wedding visit to her family. He would do everything he could to make it go smoothly. Song Gu then remembered her nominal parents. It seemed it was time to start working on the main quest. To think, I, Song Gu, am now a married woman. Early the next morning, Chui tearfully pleaded with Prince Zhao to take her along to the He Mansion. But Prince Zhao flatly refused. Chui was stunned. Distraught, she rushed to Song Gu pleading, Miss, please. But before she could finish, Lin Yang suddenly appeared behind her. There's still a lot to do at the manor. Don't always think about going out. Lin Yang's single glance silenced Chui, forcing her to return to the manor. The strange interaction between the two made Song Gu suspicious. What did Lin Yang do to make Chui so afraid? He turned to remind Prince Zhao, one should always be wary of others. But the prince simply smiled. My wife, you can only trust Lin Yang. She grew up watching me and is honest, kind, and treats everyone well. I believe she can guide Chui back to the right path. Song Gu was speechless. Chui in front of Lin Yang was like a fish on a chopping block. This man must have some misunderstanding about honest and kind. Song Gu, who felt the prince was too naive, still couldn't be at ease. Your Highness, trust me, this isn't that simple. But the prince suddenly reached out and interrupted him. In his next words, it completely captivated Song Gu. A woman is forced to marry a blind and crippled prince, yet she's happy every day. Little does she know, the little white rabbit in her eyes is actually a big bad wolf. Yet she still worries about the naive prince, reminding him to be wary of those around him. The prince deliberately interrupted him. My wife, why are you still calling me your highness? Shouldn't you change your address? Song Gu, successfully charmed, perked up. Then how would you like me to address you? The prince pretended to be shy. Anything but your highness is fine. Song Gu thought for a moment. Calling you husband is like calling you hubby in public. It's a bit embarrassing. Looking up, he saw the prince looking at him expectantly. Song Gu suddenly felt shy. Then how about I call you Zhao? And you can call me Song Gu, all right. The prince's sweat dropped. This address seemed a bit too sweet. He nodded helplessly. As you wish, my wife. Song Gu giggled, covering his mouth, then whispered in the prince's ear, Zhao. Zhao, Zhao. The prince was a bit speechless, but still responded indulgently, my wife. Please stop teasing me. Arriving at the He Mansion, they saw Lord and Lady He waiting at the entrance. Lady He enthusiastically welcomed the prince. It's our He family's blessing that you married my good-for-nothing daughter. If she does anything wrong in the future, your highness, please feel free to punish her. Song Gu rolled his eyes, saying all this just so he doesn't implicate the He family. Huh. The prince suddenly spoke. Song Gu is wonderful. Even though I cannot see, he is the most precious wife in my heart. His words stunned Song Gu. Blushing, he quickly turned his face away. Saying such sweet things in this setting is so embarrassing. Lord and Lady He, force-fed this display of affection, were shocked. Since the prince seemed to genuinely care for their daughter, the following matters should be much easier. So, the He family immediately sent someone to call their son. Then, they served tea to the prince with extra attentiveness. Your Majesty previously said that if our daughter married your highness, our son would be granted an official position. Has your highness heard anything about this? Song Gu was speechless. This fake enthusiasm, it's all for that good-for-nothing brother. I dare not speculate on the emperor's intentions. However, the emperor's words are his bond. Perhaps an edict will be issued in a few days. But the anxious lord, he wanted to confirm the matter as soon as possible. Prince Zhao apologized profusely. Due to my poor health, I am rarely summoned by the emperor. I'm afraid I can't be of much help in this matter. Disappointed, the He family immediately changed their demeanor. Sanggu was so angry he almost flipped the table. He just started to defend his husband when his foolish brother, He Zongxing, walked in, barely married and already siding with outsiders. A married daughter is like spilled water. Counting on you is like buying a scholar's degree. Sanggu suppressed his anger and ignored Lord He. He quickly interrupted and urged He Zongxing to sit down and have tea with the prince. But He Zongxing, taking advantage of the prince's blindness, yawned repeatedly and acted rudely. Drinking tea is so boring. Wouldn't it be better to have some wine? Haha, sorry. I forgot your highness is frail. You probably can't drink this wine. Sanggu raised his wine cup, intending to drink in Prince Zhao's place. But the prince gently grasped his hand, stopping him. Don't worry, my dear. Zhao has a good tolerance for alcohol. Sanggu, momentarily charmed, blushed. Oh my god, my Zhao is incredibly handsome. But before they could finish a few rounds, the prince collapsed on the table, unconscious. Sanggu poked him tentatively, but there was no reaction. He was utterly speechless. This is what you call a good tolerance. I shouldn't have believed you. He sighed in resignation. Then, picking up the prince, he prepared to take him back. The obnoxious He Zongxing walked in and started running his mouth. Marrying this useless man must be hard on you. It's a good thing you're a woman. If you serve this love-starved prince well, maybe he'll treat you like a treasure. Ha, right. This cripple can't even walk. I bet he can't do that either. But the next second, Sanggu grabbed the wine jar and gave him a thorough drenching. Fortunately, Prince Zhao was still unconscious. He could finally drop the act and teach this jerk a lesson. He Zongxing's father, rising to intervene, cursed at him to stop. Sanggu sneered and, right in front of the idiot's father, slammed him face first into the ground. He was no longer the submissive servant who let people walk all over him. Facing the grounded He Zongxing, Sanggu knew a swift victory was the most satisfying. Enraged, He Zongxing grabbed Sanggu and started to lash out. However, a single sentence from Sanggu scared the crap out of him. He, as Prince Zhao, blind in one eye and lame, unable to consummate his marriage, was called impotent by his brother-in-law. The time-traveling girl's expression changed drastically. She pinned his idiotic brother to the ground and rubbed his face in it. The protective, doting father wasn't having it. He grabbed Sanggu, demanding the return of all the dowry and ordering him out of the He mansion. Song Ji's eyes narrowed. Then you'd better hurry and have your son-in-law kick me out. Song Ji's forceful demeanor scared the father back. He accused Sanggu of being rebellious. Sanggu scoffed. What? Are you afraid? That's right. If I'm no longer the eldest daughter of the He family, then your son's imperial appointment will probably be revoked. Even the betrothal gifts will have to be returned to the prince. That's worth a lot more than the dowry. If you refuse, you'll be guilty of deceiving the emperor. The two men were instantly dumbfounded. The enraged He Zongxing started cursing at Sanggu. But Sanggu placed a foot on a stool, a mere 0.1 millimeters from He Zongxing's crotch. He Zongxing nearly wet himself in terror. Sanggu stared at him intensely. I say, young master, you need to recognize your place and who holds the power in this transaction. As a member of a merchant family, don't you even understand this basic principle? A moment later, Sanggu presented a contract. He would return the entire dowry, but the He family could make no demands of Prince Zhao's mansion for 3 years. Otherwise, they would pay 10 times the amount. The greedy father signed without a second thought, thinking Sanggu was an idiot. All that threatening just to give the money. But for Sanggu, anything that could be solved with money was a small matter. After all, he was going to help Prince Zhao ascend to the throne and couldn't be bothered with these insignificant obstacles. On the way back to the mansion, Sanggu saw the prince holding his head, looking uncomfortable. Your Highness, are you all right? The prince said he was just tired. My dear, you're calling me Your Highness again. Sanggu was momentarily taken aback. Then he laughed. Sorry, it's a habit, but I'm truly touched that you stood up for me today, my husband. But please don't do that again. Drinking too much is bad for you. We are husband and wife. We should help each other. Besides, haven't you always been standing up for me? However, behind the eye patch, the prince's gaze was scrutinizing. The current Song-gu was indeed a different person from the one he saw when he pretended to be drunk. Back in their room, after a long day, Song-gu flopped onto the bed. The preparations were complete. Tomorrow, he could finally start the main mission, restoring Prince Zhao's mansion. A faint scent of tea drifted to his nose. He happily rolled around in the blankets. Zhao smells so good. Just then, a creaking sound came from behind him. Embarrassed, Song-gu jumped to his feet. Did Prince Zhao want to rest? He felt a surge of panic. He hoped Prince Zhao hadn't noticed anything. Blushing, Prince Zhao took out some papers and handed them to him. Starstruck, Song-gu took the papers, showering him with praise. Your handwriting is so beautiful, my husband. When he saw what was written, his jaw dropped. Prince Zhao was actually giving him all his land, property, and monthly income. Song-gu was completely stunned. Are you planning to renounce the world and become a hermit? Prince Zhao smiled indulgently. He said he had no intention of becoming a hermit, and that he should give these things to his wife. Song-ji's heart sank. This was bad. Had he overheard their conversation while drunk? Did he mistakenly think Song-gu was helping his family swindle him? Anxious, Song-gu quickly explained that he wasn't trying to cheat him out of the dowry. At the same time, Prince Zhao explained that he hadn't intentionally eavesdropped. Both of them, speaking at once, froze in awkward silence. One pretending to be a gold digger, the other a delicate flower. They both fell silent. Prince Zhao coughed awkwardly and gestured for Song-gu to speak first. Song-gu was a little embarrassed. Prince Zhao probably thought he was helping the He family get rich by asking for the dowry. After all, using so much money in exchange for a 3-year agreement with no demand seemed outrageous. But that wasn't my intention. Prince Zhao suddenly interrupted him, saying he understood. His wife's brother was spoiled and arrogant. If he were to take office in the future, he would definitely cause trouble for the prince's mansion. That's why his wife wanted to use this request to avoid problems in advance. Right? Song-gu was surprised. He actually understood Song-ji's thoughts so clearly. Prince Zhao suddenly took his hand. I know you're doing this for the mansion, so the mansion should rightfully have a share for you. I'm very comfortable in trusting these funds to you. But in reality, he was using this as a test to see how Song-gu would respond, and his answer would determine whether he was worthy of staying in the prince's mansion. He was cunning and decisive, yet he deliberately pretended to be a sickly, fragile flower just to lull his enemies into a false sense of security. However, the emperor's son made him wary, so he took out all his assets to test Song-gu. Whether he accepted gratefully or felt insulted by the money and flatly refused, neither would be the result he desired, and this test would determine his fate. Faced with this huge sum of money, Song-gu hesitated. After a moment of thought, he slowly said, if possible, I'd like to add a clause to the agreement. Prince Zhao looked puzzled. He asked him what he meant. Song-gu picked up the contract. The value of this paper lies in mutual benefit. Both parties must give and take to achieve stable cooperation. However, this agreement only involves giving. It doesn't achieve mutual benefit at all. It's the type of contract most prone to collapse. And I'm simply not interested in a business with no potential for growth. So, how do you propose to amend it? Song-gu picked up a pen and added a stipulation. Prince Zhao would entrust his mansion and stipend to Song-gu. Song-gu would use this as capital and, within 3 months, triple the original funds. But he also had his own ulterior motive. The party who breached the contract would have to act as a servant and unconditionally fulfill any request to the other party. This result clearly surprised Prince Zhao. Song-gu, you're truly remarkable. Having passed the test, he smiled faintly. I'll leave everything to you. The next morning, Lin Yang said she had controlled Chui'er with poison. Now a puppet, Chui'er wouldn't pose a threat to the mansion. She asked Prince Zhao if he wanted to plant the bone poison in the princess consort as well. But Prince Zhao said no. There was no need to target him anymore. Just treat him as the mistress of the house. Lin Yang was surprised. After all, the initial agreement to the marriage was to create the image of a weak, doting prince to lower the guard of the other princes. Worried, Lin Yang asked Prince Zhao if he had fallen for Song-gu. Prince Zhao smiled faintly. How could that be? I just think he still has value. At that moment, Song-gu, carrying a bag, greeted them, saying he would be back late and they didn't need to wait for him for dinner. Lin Yang and Prince Zhao were dumbfounded. My lord, your newly approved princess consort doesn't seem very obedient. Night fell. Exhausted from the day's activities, Songge finally returned to his room. Before Prince Zhao could speak, Songge had already collapsed onto the bed and fallen asleep. Prince Zhao, who had wanted to take this opportunity to connect emotionally and subtly probe him, was left dumbfounded. He blew out the candle, thinking he would ask the next day. However, early the next morning, Songge left again with his bag, still repeating the same phrase about not wanting Prince Zhao to wait indefinitely for his return. But when Prince Zhao waited for Songge to return, he immediately fell asleep again. On the third day, Songge left with the same farewell. Only this time, he returned reeking of alcohol and unconscious. Unable to get any information out of him, Prince Zhao resentfully wiped him down, feeling utterly speechless. For the next few days, Songge rushed out the door early each morning. Finally, Prince Zhao couldn't stand it anymore and stopped him, asking what he had been so busy with lately. Songge, in a hurry, only told him not to wait for dinner and that he would be back later. With a slam of the door, he left the repeatedly abandoned Prince Zhao completely bewildered. Lin Yang informed Prince Zhao of the news she had gathered. "Your Highness, he's been frequenting various gambling dens and spending money like water. Presumably, that money is from your dowry." A sudden awkwardness hung in the air. Prince Zhao coughed lightly. Songge must have his reasons. Let's wait and see. But Lin Yang felt that Prince Zhao's trust in Songge was excessive. The prince chuckled. "If he doesn't ultimately produce results worthy of my trust, then he can be discarded." Lin Yang seemed relieved. "It's truly reassuring to work for a ruthless, vengeful demon like you, Your Highness, who would even betray himself to achieve his goals." "How can you say that? In my wife's eyes, I'm a very gentle person." Under the moonlight, Prince Zhao, waiting in the back garden, saw Songge approaching him, carrying packages of various sizes. Upon learning that Songge had been out all day just to queue for pastries, Prince Zhao was momentarily speechless. He frowned slightly. "I need an explanation." When Songge looked up at him, Prince Zhao put on an innocent expression, asking why he was being so cold and distant, coming and going at odd hours. Seeing Prince Zhao acting coquettishly nearly gave Songge a heart attack. It was quite captivating. Songge offered him the pastries, urging him to try them. Prince Zhao accepted the pastries impassively, thinking that if Songge dared to give him some foolish excuse about wanting to surprise him, he would call for Lin Yang to deal with him. Songge explained that he had been visiting various restaurants to look for business opportunities. But after looking around, he found it was simply impossible. Prince Zhao, completely ignorant of business, calmly ate the pastries. Commerce is a complex field of study. It's normal to not grasp it immediately. Enjoying the pastries, Prince Zhao decided to let it go, seeing that Songge had at least put in some effort. But Songge shook his head repeatedly. "When I said it's impossible, I wasn't referring to myself, but to the business environment here." He then listed the flaws he had observed, summarizing that it was difficult for restaurants here to thrive. However, after his investigation, he concluded that opening a fruit tea and dessert shop would be very profitable. But Prince Zhao found him presumptuous. After all, he had previously investigated Songge. Although his family had been in business for 3 generations, Songge himself had never managed a single shop. So, he kindly warned Songge about the risks involved. After all, tea houses were mostly frequented by men discussing business. But Songge was determined. "Fortune favors the bold, Your Highness. Just wait 10 days. Seeing Songge's stubbornness, Prince Zhao could only acquiesce. Suddenly remembering something, he asked, "Are you going out again tomorrow, my dear?" "Perhaps we could. Not go. It would be nice to finally get some rest and catch up on sleep." Having his invitation cut short, Prince Zhao could only pitifully swallow the rest of his words. "Sleep well then." However, early the next morning, Prince Zhao was once again exasperated. He woke up to a very tricky situation. Namely, how to extricate himself from his soundly sleeping wife, who was sprawled on top of him. The worst part was that he was starting to feel aroused. The recently awakened Prince Zhao stared at Songge's unrestrained sleeping posture, utterly speechless. He thought back on everything that had happened recently, and this woman before him. That was completely different from the information he had gathered. Their personalities were practically opposites. Not only did she lack any trace of demureness or restraint, she frequently used strange, unfamiliar expressions, and quite domineering. At this moment, Prince Zhao suddenly froze. Why did he use the word domineering? but he thought a woman of her status couldn't possibly be so fanatical and loyal to a cripple like himself. Song-gu, what are you hiding? What is your purpose in approaching me? But the next second, the woman flipped over and pinned him down, drool dribbling from the corner of his mouth. He kept muttering about Chao Tianxing air. The prince was bewildered. What the hell was Chao Tianxing air? But he couldn't afford to think about that, because his body, at this moment, was undergoing a change. Although his legs were paralyzed due to poisoning, this didn't affect other matters. The prince was in turmoil. He was struggling with whether or not to wake Song-gu. But if he woke him, how would he explain the situation? Say he was a normal man, and then be questioned about why he hadn't produced an heir. Thinking of heirs, Prince Zhao's eyes suddenly dimmed. He thought of the tragic experiences of his childhood. His mother, on her deathbed, had repeatedly urged him to return to the capital to find that man and take away everything he cared about to avenge her. At such a young age, he had witnessed his mother being consumed by fire. Since an heir was destined for tragedy, why should one be born at all? The painful memories caused the prince's body to gradually calm down. He reached out, trying to wake the woman. What's wrong? Song-gu mumbled with his eyes closed. I'm designing eyebrows. I have to write it down before I wash up. I'll forget if I wake up suddenly. At this moment, Song-gu suddenly felt a chill down his spine. Suddenly jolting awake, he sat up abruptly. He thought he was dreaming of cuddling with the beautiful Zhao. Unexpectedly, the real person was right in front of him. He punched himself hard to stay calm. Embarrassed, he apologized. I'm so sorry. I've been really tired lately, so I haven't been sleeping well. Prince Zhao said it was all right, but subconsciously moved his body outwards, thinking, not sleeping well. More like extremely restless. Seeing Prince Zhao about to get out of bed, Song-gu immediately stepped forward to help him. Wanting to ask Prince Zhao for a favor, he gave a charming smile. Husband, after you finish breakfast, could you spare some time for me? Help me choose some ingredients. The prince was speechless. He thought she wanted to spend some time with him, but it turned out to be for work. After breakfast, Song-gu brought a large basin of tea. This was the oolong tea he had brewed the night before and cold brewed in the cellar. Then he took out the peaches he had picked earlier, complimenting the prince's gardening skills. You can actually grow such juicy peaches. After some mixing, a cup of sweet and refreshing peach oolong tea was ready. Song-gu, full of anticipation, handed the fruit tea to the prince to taste. But the prince suddenly froze. He felt that this thing was a bit disgusting. After all, he had never drunk cold tea, let alone cold tea mixed with fruit puree. How could this possibly be good? But after taking a sip, his taste buds were hit by a unique sweetness. Song-gu quickly asked him how it tasted. Prince Zhao said the taste was unique, just a little too sweet, and too much peach pulp, which completely masks the delicate fragrance of the tea. After saying that, he remixed the fruit tea and let Song-gu try it. Song-gu started swooning. Haha. If I drink this directly, it counts as an indirect kiss, right? After taking the cup, Song-gu took the opportunity to lick the rim, then gulp, 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 drank it all down, making the prince watching him sweat drop. What was he doing? But the next second, the delicious fruit tea made Song-ji's eyes sparkle. The taste is almost exactly the same as what I drank back home. It turned out that although he remembered the modern recipe, he was a complete disaster in the kitchen. Prince Zhao was puzzled. He had investigated the He family for 3 generations. They had all lived in the capital. So where was this hometown he spoke of? He feigned nonchalance and asked what Song-gu planned to do next. Song-gu chuckled. He only needed the high-quality water from the prince's mansion courtyard and the flowers and herbs that could be used for tea. And finally, he needed to rely on the prince's calligraphy. Arriving at the study, Song-gu asked Prince Zhao to write a signboard with his personal jade seal. Using the prince's favorite tea as a selling point to attract people to come and taste it, thus creating a star effect. Hearing star effect, Prince Zhao was completely confused. Song-gu explained that it was a kind of psychological suggestion. It's like, even if I can't become the prince, at least I can taste the tea he likes to drink, allowing people to realize the beautiful vision of peeking into the lives of the royal family. In short, what we sell is more than just food. Do you understand? At this moment, Prince Zhao was certain that Song-gu was completely different from the rumored He family's young lady who only knew how to write poems and couplets. The truth is, he's someone who will use any means necessary, a truly ruthless individual. But if he's not the He family's biological child, then why did the old man he negotiate with him before? Well, I'll just have to continue probing. Lost in thought, Prince Zhao finished writing the signed song Gu requested. Song-gu, like a little fanboy, showered the prince with praise. The original novel didn't lie. Aside from his disability, Prince Zhao truly is perfect. Songgu secretly giggled, thinking that he and Prince Zhao were the perfect roommates. How could their relationship? Suddenly, the prince's brush stopped. Trembling all over, covered in cold sweat, the prince looked to be in pain. Seeing this, Song Ji's heart instantly tightened. What's wrong with him? Gasping for air, the prince lay in bed in agony. But the physical pain, that was not even 1/10,000th of the pain in his heart. Because he was born for revenge. During his long and lonely years, he had never felt even a shred of love, until he suddenly appeared in his life. Just now, the prince suddenly convulsed, curling up into a ball. His pale face was covered in sweat. Seeing this, Song Ji's heart instantly tightened. Prince Zhao, what's wrong? Why are you trembling like this? The prince forced a smile and said it was nothing, just a relapse. He just needed to rest for a while. Hearing this, Song Gu remembered the original novel mentioning that Prince Zhao had been poisoned by a cold toxin when he shielded the emperor from a sword. But even after consulting all the physicians, they couldn't completely remove it. They could only force the remaining poison into his legs. From then on, Prince Zhao not only lost the use of his legs, but also suffered a relapse every month, leaving him cold as ice and in excruciating pain. But now, he deliberately acted nonchalant, enduring the unbearable pain alone. Songgu grabbed the wheelchair. Your Highness, don't panic. I'll take you somewhere warm right now. The prince was surprised. How'd he know he was cold? At this moment, Prince Zhao became suspicious again. His legs weren't permanently damaged. They were just frozen by the cold toxin. He discovered this while repeatedly attempting to dispel the cold energy. No one knew about this, but Songgu seemed to know. He knew the truth that even the emperor and the imperial physicians hadn't figured out. Songgu brought thick blankets to keep the prince warm, and then rushed out the door without looking back. Left alone, Prince Zhao lay there in discomfort. He forced himself to sit up and try to circulate his energy, but his mind couldn't stop racing. He thought Songgu must have left because he was a burden. He was getting delirious. When the steam forcibly broke through the frozen meridians, it was like countless invisible threads pulling at his body. After exhausting all his strength, the prince collapsed heavily. This was the only way to restore his legs. But this time, he felt more alone than ever. Helpless. Since childhood, he had always told himself that the only one who could help him was himself. Even his wife wasn't worthy of his trust. But just then, the closed door opened again. Song Gu came running in, carrying a bathtub bigger than himself. Prince Zhao stared in disbelief. He propped himself up weakly and asked what Songgu was doing. Songgu told him to just lie down and not worry about anything else. The confused prince looked on. Songgu chuckled. Since it's a cold toxin, of course we need to keep you warm. He had considered trying the method from the book, where they relied on each other for warmth. But he had no confidence in his own body temperature. So, relying on external heat was more reliable. The prince secretly observed his every move, realizing that Songgu intended to raise his body temperature with a hot bath. He had never tried this before, afraid of others discovering his weakness. He always endured it silently alone. Accustomed to being guarded, he kept telling himself that Songgu was just putting on an act. Maybe Lin Yang was right. Perhaps Songgu was a spy sent by someone else. Thinking carefully, it didn't make sense. If Songgu was truly just trying to gain trust, he could have simply stayed by Prince Zhao's side and cared for him. There was no need to go through so much trouble doing these unnecessary things. Meanwhile, the clueless Songgu was still struggling to start a fire. He struck the flint and steel repeatedly, but no sparks appeared. Prince Zhao was utterly speechless. He couldn't help but remind Songgu to use tinder before adding the firewood. Having received the instructions, Songgu quickly got a fire going. As a modern man, he found it fascinating. But Prince Zhao was sweating. This woman was clearly a pampered young lady. If she were a spy, how could she not even know how to light a fire? After starting the fire, Songgu diligently carried basin after basin of water to pour into the wooden tub. By this point, Prince Zhao was in too much pain to think and could only continue trying to use the steam to clear his meridians. Songgu, having filled the tub, waited for the water to heat up. Suddenly, Prince Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Songgu had pressed himself against Prince Zhao like a human heating pad. The sudden action made Prince Zhao's pale face flush crimson. He shyly said there was no need for that, but Song-gu said it was fine, explaining that it might warm him up a little. But when he inadvertently touched Prince Zhao's cheek, he was stunned. His face was icy, like thousand-year-old snow. He had only read descriptions in novels before, but the reality was shocking. Did Prince Zhao have to endure this near-death experience every month? With that thought, Song-gu rushed out the door again. Prince Zhao, who had finally found a sliver of support, felt his hopes plummet. He figured Song-gu must have been scared off by his extremely low body temperature. He told himself not to hope anymore. After all, he had gritted his teeth and endured it before. Everyone abandoned him anyway. He was used to it. He had no right to feel disappointed. Prince Zhao hugged himself tightly. Just endure it a little longer. Everything would pass. A moment later, Song-gu returned and pushed open the door. He told Prince Zhao to get up and drink the ginger and brown sugar tea he had just made. But Prince Zhao was too cold to speak, let alone get up. Seeing the puffs of cold air escaping his lips, Song-gu realized that Prince Zhao was too cold to move. So he went forward and helped Prince Zhao lean against him. While helping him drink, Song-gu couldn't resist adding, in novels, the hero and heroine would feed each other mouth to mouth in this situation. Prince Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Did Song-gu want to do that too? Prince Zhao hadn't expected his weakness to be discovered. But even though the cold poison was causing him excruciating pain, he still wanted to test whether Song-gu was a spy sent by the enemy. Unexpectedly, Song-gu confessed to being a transmigrator from another world. Just now, while giving Prince Zhao the medicine, Song-gu had mentioned that in books, medicine was given mouth to mouth. Hearing this, the innocent Prince Zhao was flustered, thinking Song-gu wanted to take advantage of him. Seeing Prince Zhao's displeasure, Song-gu thought the tea was too hot. While wiping Prince Zhao's mouth, he continued, "Don't worry, Your Highness, I wouldn't do that. You can still drink it yourself. Besides, we're not close enough for that." This almost made Prince Zhao choke. What did he mean, not close enough? They were married. How dare he say they weren't close? This woman was trying to infuriate him. Song-gu, holding the empty bowl, praised him for being a good boy. This angered Prince Zhao even more. This woman clearly didn't see him as her husband. "Get out." A second later, Song-gu said with a mischievous grin, "Husband, the water is ready. Let me help you undress and bathe." This expression drove Prince Zhao mad. He must be a spy. Prince Zhao was blushing, but couldn't refuse. He found himself back at the same question. If he were truly a spy, there would be no need to do these foolish things. Unable to understand Song-gu, Prince Zhao was incredibly frustrated. Meanwhile, Song-gu was smitten with Prince Zhao. "Ha! This little vixen is so beautiful." With surprising strength, he scooped Prince Zhao up, making him too shy to lift his face. He didn't understand where Song-gu got such strength. Song-gu quietly sliced ginger. Prince Zhao's pale face gradually regained its color. He could feel his meridians opening. If he used the steam now, it shouldn't be as excruciating as before. But he was curious. So he asked Song-gu how he knew this could alleviate the cold toxin. Song-gu chuckled and said he didn't understand these things. "I just thought since your body is cold, you should warm yourself up first." Prince Zhao suddenly realized, that's right, if it's uncomfortable, then find a way to make yourself comfortable. Such a simple principle, yet he had gradually forgotten it amidst his daily pretense. He had now mostly recovered, but Song-gu was still diligently slicing ginger. Prince Zhao couldn't help but remind him, "You can't put too much ginger in the medicine." Embarrassed, Song-gu apologized repeatedly. "I don't understand medicine very well, but I'm a quick learner. If anything is wrong, Zhao, just tell me directly." At this moment, Prince Zhao decided to test him. "My wife, why do you trust me so much? Clearly, I appear so unreliable." Song-gu fished out the extra ginger slices. "Regarding medicinal ingredients, Your Highness knows best. After all, in the entire Jianghu, besides the peerless Yiju One and Deng Gui, no one can compare to the divine hands of Prince Zhao." Prince Zhao's heart tightened. "My wife, how do you know I have medical skills?" "That's simple. On our wedding day, Zhao stopped me from eating the poison wedding cakes. How could an ordinary person discern whether something is poisonous just by smell?" Prince Zhao broke out in a sweat. So it was because of that. But even so, he still had doubts. He felt something wasn't quite right, especially those names Song-gu mentioned. Song-gu suddenly leaned closer, a playful curve on his lips. I tricked you. Prince Zhao was bewildered. What was this woman up to? Song-gu deliberately played with a strand of his hair. He stared unblinkingly at Prince Zhao, who felt inexplicably flustered under his gaze. Song-gu leaned in close to his ear again. The reason I know your status in the Jianghu is because I've read a novel. The bewildered Prince Zhao was dumbfounded. What is a novel? A novel is similar to the illustrated books here. It's something with all sorts of stories written in it. Prince Zhao was stunned. My wife, are you saying someone has written about me in an illustrated book? Song-gu smiled faintly. What if I told you I'm from another world? Prince Zhao, who had maintained his disguise for years, had his weakness exposed by his wife. However, this wasn't the worst part. The worst part was his wife confessing to him that she was a transmigrator from another world. Just now, his newlywed wife said she had read a novel about him, similar to the illustrated books here. This made Prince Zhao think he had been betrayed by a confidant. After all, he had concealed himself well. How can anyone else know? Prince Zhao couldn't help but ask, is the person who wrote this illustrated book someone from the Jianghu? Yes and no. Song Ji's ambiguous answer made Prince Zhao fall into deep thought again. At this time, Song-gu noticed that Prince Zhao's hands had regained their warmth. He held Prince Zhao's hand, overjoyed. It seems this method really works. However, his genuine smile caught Prince Zhao's attention. In the past, when the cold toxin flared up, he suffered alone, with no opportunity to try the warming method. He never thought he would fall into the predicament of a doctor who couldn't heal himself. Unexpectedly, Song-gu bent down to add more firewood to maintain the water temperature. Husband, soak a little longer. Each attack seems to last for several hours. Prince Zhao stared intently at the person before him. This woman even knew the exact duration of his attacks. No, she must be hiding something. He couldn't let her distract him. If he was truly betrayed by someone he trusted, things would be difficult. Prince Zhao deliberately returned to the previous topic. My wife, I still don't understand the novel you mentioned. Can you explain it? The clever Song-gu knew his intentions. He reached out and touched Prince Zhao's forehead. Zhaoer, you're deliberately testing me today, aren't you? Then he put on a wronged expression. Boo-hoo, I'm so sad. Although my husband has been cooperating with me, I can feel your distrust. But please rest assured, husband, Song-gu will tell you everything I know truthfully to regain your trust. Prince Zhao was instantly flustered, embarrassed. He apologized repeatedly. It's my fault that my attitude made my wife unhappy. However, the divine hands of Prince Zhao is just a rumor spread by those in the Jianghu. There shouldn't be anyone writing about this in an illustrated book. It's truly embarrassing. But this illustrated book isn't from this era. Song-gu, who had been smiling playfully, suddenly turned serious. Perhaps Wang Yinming has a wife from another world. Prince Zhao was standing there. This sentence felt strangely familiar, as if he had heard it when he was little. His mother had complained about their terrible life. Her vacant eyes were like an abyss, and she kept muttering, "It's all rotten. Whether here or in another world, it's all rotten." But at that time, Prince Zhao didn't understand what it meant. Even now, he was still puzzled. What did another world mean? Song-gu tapped on a small blackboard and started explaining the details of his chonert. Anyway, that's it. I wonder if my husband understands. Although Prince Zhao was a bit slow, he basically understood through his narration. So, my wife came back to life in this body from a place I know nothing about. And my wife needs to help me successfully ascend the throne, and then she can go home. My husband is indeed clever. Because Song-gu knew you had no intention of inheriting the throne, he decided to have a good chat with you. The man, pretending to be blind, looked away. Fortunately, Song-gu had now blindfolded him with a ribbon. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to keep up the act. But this contradicted Song Ji's earlier explanation. He wasn't sure if Song-gu was deliberately trying to get information out of him, but his words also puzzled him. Long-standing questions were gradually becoming clearer. He decided to play it safe for a while. At this moment, Song-gu, thinking the man was blind, was shamelessly admiring him, leaving the pretending to be blind Prince Zhao speechless. Since the other party had revealed everything to dispel suspicion, he also needed to offer something in return. He asked Song-gu if he missed home. Probably, after all, his family and friends were all there. Besides, Many things here were inconvenient. Cell phones and flush toilets were the way to go. Then, the man revealed to Song-gu that there was a possibility his legs could be healed. Song-gu was surprised because even the novel hadn't mentioned this. Why would he suddenly tell him? The man explained that he had deliberately concealed it before. However, regarding the succession, he couldn't give an answer yet. But my wife, since you have told me your secret, I must also share my secret with you. At this moment, Song-gu thought he had gained the other party's trust, but he didn't know that this wasn't the man's only secret. He was the scheming Prince Zhao. To take revenge, he deliberately pretended to be a weak and pitiful, sickly prince. Even though his wife revealed she was a transmigrator, he was still unwilling to show his true self. At the noble lady's tea party, Song-gu, believing he had gained the prince's trust, was still reminiscing about yesterday's sweetness. This little snow lotus was simply adorable. He didn't expect the man to tell him that his legs could be healed. But in reality, the delicate little snow lotus in his eyes was acting the whole time. He pleaded with Song-gu, "Please give me 2 years. By then, I will definitely try to help you go home, okay? So, please stay with me a little longer. Just a little longer, okay?" Faced with such a handsome and clingy husband, Song-gu was completely smitten. He really wanted to quickly transmigrate back and tell those book fans everything. Thinking of this, Song-gu couldn't help but laugh. Lin Yang, who was beside him, was very displeased to see him giggling. What is the princess consort of Zhao laughing about? Why are you sitting in the corner and not chatting with the other ladies? Song-gu quickly thought of an excuse. He said that the stories the other ladies were telling were very interesting, and he was enjoying them so much that he didn't want to interrupt. Song-ji's humility pleased Lin Yang. She had thought that the princess consort of Zhao had come to steal the spotlight, but now it seemed he was quite pleasant. So, she immediately ordered the servants to bring more refreshments. Song-gu took the opportunity to bring out a large basket of pastries. "Sister, there's no need to go to any trouble. I just happen to have some pastries I'd like to share with everyone." The plump-looking pastries were very tempting. Impressed, Lin Yang asked, "Were these made by the royal chef?" Song-gu, preparing for his business opening, enthusiastically explained, "These are all pre-release samples, pastries that haven't been sold on the market yet. You ladies are the first to try them. Of course, I've also paired them with some sweet fruits. If you don't like the bitter tea, you can try these." The novel treats fascinated the ladies. After taking a small bite, it was like a whole new world opened up to them. Not only were they exquisitely shaped, but they also had a rich egg yolk filling. Chestnuts can be made into desserts. They even have a remarkably delicate texture. Even the sweet tea has bits of fruit in it. The delicious and novel desserts instantly captivated the ladies. Song-gu was quite pleased with this outcome. It seemed the test was a success. Before this, he'd specifically sought out a young, daring chef and had them experiment multiple times according to his methods. He wanted to offer customers not just flavor, but also novelty and a sense of occasion. This way, the place would garner endless adoration. Before the tasting ended, Song-gu prepared a portion for everyone to take home for their families to try. This way, even before the shop opened, he'd already cultivated some popularity. Lin Yang, who was waiting outside at this time, was instantly stunned upon seeing Song-ji's arms full of things. "Madam, where are all those things in your arms?" Song-gu laughed heartily. "These are all return gifts from the Guan family, madam." But Lin Yang remembered that the madam here was notoriously stingy. She asked Song-gu with bewilderment, "Didn't they give you a hard time today?" Song-gu happily tossed the packages into the carriage. "Why would they give me a hard time?" The ladies were all quite pleasant. Hearing this, Lin Yang was instantly relieved. "I thought those nobles would gossip behind your back and embarrass you." Of course there was gossip, and quite a bit of it too. Upon hearing this, Lin Yang was about to go defend him, but Song-gu felt it was unnecessary. They're just pitiful people who find release by slandering others. If I were to be upset by this, wouldn't I be just like them? Song-ji's magnanimity impressed Lin Yang. "Madam, you should be more worried about the shop opening soon. What if business is bad?" Song-gu, however, was full of confidence. "Everything is ready. We just need a favorable wind." Back at the prince's mansion, Song-gu, dressed in men's clothing and holding an abacus, asked Prince Zhao, "How do I look?" The prince looked over, instantly startled into blushing and a racing heart. Collecting himself, he immediately claimed he couldn't see. "Did you change clothes, madam?" Song-gu chuckled. "I'm the shopkeeper, aren't I? Of course I have to change my attire." To reinforce the fact that he couldn't see, The prince deliberately asked, "Madam, could I touch your face?" Then he shyly turned his head, claiming he didn't mean to be presumptuous, but because he'd never known what his wife looked like, he felt a little uneasy. Unexpectedly, Song-gu excitedly rushed up to him. "Of course you can." Saying this, he lifted the prince's hand to his face. "Even if you're not satisfied, husband, you can't return me." Unexpectedly, what followed developed uncontrollably into an unforeseen situation. The prince could clearly see his wife's face, yet he still had to act as a blind man, touching his wife's face. Meanwhile, the unsuspecting wife proactively placed his hand on his cheek. "Even if there's something you're not satisfied with, you can't return me." The prince's hand slid from his cheek to the tip of his nose, and from the tip of his nose to the corner of his eye. The young man's heart fluttered wildly. What if I suddenly bite him when he touches my lips? Ha ha ha. Just thinking about it is exciting. At this moment, the prince touched a thin, long scar on his forehead. "Madam, is there a wound here?" Song-gu, like a husky, nuzzled the prince's palm. "Yes, I got it when I nearly drowned before I transmigrated. But it's also because of this that scumbag father believed I would obediently marry the prince. Luckily, my bangs cover it. You can't see it unless you look closely." Though he kept smiling, he was wondering if Prince Zhao would find it repulsive. "It must have hurt a lot back then," the prince said with concern, surprising Song-gu. "Oh my, as expected of my prince. So charming. It didn't hurt. This small injury is nothing. It's also convenient for distinguishing between me and Zhao Wangfei. So, madam, are you wearing men's clothing now?" The prince, who had already noticed, asked deliberately, because it's more convenient to do business in men's clothing. In this era, there's still prejudice against women doing business openly. If I did these things as Zhao Wangfei, it might cause trouble. So, I simply disguised myself as Song Ji's distant cousin. Prince Zhao was stunned. Every action she took was in consideration of the prince's mansion. "Madam, wear whatever you want. You don't need to worry about these things." Song-gu looked at the prince playfully. "What if I wear women's clothing and people spread rumors that Zhao Wangfei is always flirting with others and cuckolding the prince? Wouldn't husband be angry if you heard such things?" "Will my husband be angry?" "Perhaps he will. But since my wife has taken on the responsibilities a man should bear, then I naturally must also shoulder a wife's duties." His words filled Song Ji's head with questions. What does Prince Zhao mean by the responsibilities a man should bear? A man should stand tall and support his family, allowing his wife to live a peaceful and worry-free life. And what are a woman's responsibilities? A woman naturally manages the household and bears children. I just said I would take on a woman's responsibilities, but I can't bear children. I apologize. I've always done the housework, but I'm afraid I can't have children. Does that make me an unqualified wife? Panicked, he waves his hands repeatedly, not knowing what to do. Song-gu finds him utterly adorable. "As long as my husband doesn't think that a man who earns money outside is superior to a woman who manages the home, I'm content. Besides, in my opinion, people who can do housework are truly amazing. I can't handle that kind of work at all. Do you really think this is all right, my wife? Everyone thinks a useless person like me is unworthy of being a man. As long as my husband doesn't think, like others, that I am unworthy of being a woman, then our life will be smooth and carefree." The division of labor within a family is not about gender, nor does it need the judgment of outsiders. Just be yourself, my husband. Prince Zhao hadn't expected Song-gu to think this way. He feels touched and resolves, "I will certainly strive to be a gentle and virtuous husband. You must be good to me too. You can't be fickle." Song-gu, overwhelmed by the flirting, has a massive nosebleed. Afraid of being seen, Song-gu quickly turns away, covering his nose. At the same time, Prince Zhao, also fearing his act will be discovered, turns away as well. "I seem to have overdone it. This man is too good at flirting. If this were the modern era, he'd be snatched up by women in an instant." Afraid that Prince Zhao might overthink things, Song-gu explains that he's only dressed as a man for convenience, not out of necessity. He then suddenly pulls Prince Zhao close. "Don't you think this scar on my forehead looks super cool with my male attire?" At this moment, Prince Zhao feels like he's about to be exposed. He stammers, saying he can't see. Song-gu grins mischievously. "Since I'm already dressed as a man, it would be a shame not to do something special, wouldn't it?" His heart pounds with a sense of foreboding. What does special mean? It means a role reversal game. but they are husband and wife after all. Refusing would seem strange. Afraid his blindness might be revealed, he ties the silk ribbon back on. If my wife doesn't mind my imperfections, then I will follow your wishes. The cunning prince never imagined his cross-dressing wife would be so playful. The prince is internally screaming, feeling utterly overwhelmed. To protect his identity, he steals himself and lets his wife have her way. Song-gu is stunned. The prince before him looks incredibly tempting. Then I'll be starting. It's a good thing I've kept up with my martial arts training and stayed in shape. But in his experience, most women prefer able-bodied husbands. Does Song-gu truly not mind that he's disabled? Come to think of it, it seems like from the very beginning, Song-gu has only wanted to be intimate with him. Those occasional adoring glances were only when he was pretending to be blind. As Song-gu loosens Prince Zhao's collar, he's mesmerized. These collarbones are exquisite. Meanwhile, the flustered prince continues to overthink. That's right, Song-gu doesn't actually like me. Suddenly, the perpetually single Song-gu stops. What comes next? Is it supposed to be steaming or brewing? The point is, he only enjoys the challenge of conquering this icy prince. He has no desire to go further. Deciding to stop the charade, Song-gu says, "Forget it, let's just rest." Prince Zhao panics and grabs Song-gu, preventing him from leaving. "Will you tell me your real name?" "My wife." That's right, he's only interested in the fake, foolish, and frail Prince Zhao I portray. But it's just interest, nothing more. He doesn't see me as his husband at all. Song-ji's lips curled into a slight smile. "My real name is similar to my current one. My lord needn't worry about such things." Prince Zhao blurted out urgently. Now, an inexplicable irritation stirred within him. He wanted to know about Song-ji's past, why he had transmigrated here. Song-gu, who had been beaming, suddenly became serious. "My name is Song-gu. Song is my family name, and Gu is the same Gu as my original name and current one. As for what kind of person I am, it's hard to explain in a few words. However, your highness only needs to know this. I, Song-gu, will never betray you." Prince Zhao suddenly straightened up. He sensed that Song-gu seemed unhappy. He didn't know why he had pressed the issue. But seeing Song-gu like this, his own mood darkened. In a blink, Song-gu returned to his usual carefree demeanor. "Let's get some sleep. We need to be well rested before the shop opens." Early in the morning, the sounds of celebratory firecrackers filled the streets. The long-awaited 7th Lord Tea Shop finally opened its doors. Lin Yang, who had come early to help, looked displeased. Song-gu hadn't hired any of the strong men she had painstakingly chosen. Instead, he had picked young girls and boys who couldn't carry heavy things. "Don't blame me if they can't handle the work later," she warned. Song-gu laughed it off and told her not to be angry. Then he instructed the shop assistants to maintain an enthusiastic attitude at all times. He wanted to implement the Haidaleo service philosophy to the fullest. The bewildered Lin Yang fretted beside him. "You should be thinking about how to attract customers. His Highness is too frugal to hire people to manage his own estate, but he gives all of Fenglu to you. You're spending money like water. Don't come crying to me when you can't even pay next month's rent." "More than just the rent, we still owe the staff their wages," Song-gu added, nearly pushing Lin Yang over the edge. "Are we already this broke?" Lin Yang, having reached her limit, slammed her hand on the table. "It's already past noon, and we haven't had a single customer. Haven't you thought about what will happen if this shop fails?" Song-gu brightened. "So it's past 11 o'clock already. Hee, perfect timing." Just then, the sound of many footsteps approached from outside. A group of officials, fresh from the morning court session, entered the tea shop together. The leader was Lin Yang's husband. Once these officials in their uniforms entered the shop, they became living advertisements, attracting the attention of commoners who wanted to try the tea. Using modern business tactics, Song-gu ensured a packed house on the tea shop's opening day. Lin Yang was thoroughly impressed. "It seems I can report back to my lord with good news." Meanwhile, back at Prince Zhao's mansion, Prince Zhao single-handedly eliminated the assassins who had ambushed him. However, his bloodthirsty appearance was witnessed by Chui'er, who happened to be passing by. His gentle and incompetent demeanor was all a facade. Even the princess had been fooled. Looking at the blood-soaked ground, Chui'er felt as if she had descended into hell. She collapsed, staring in terror at the approaching man. Prince Zhao calmly retied his headband. "Chui'er, you were in that room all day. You didn't see anything, did you?" Don't tell Songge, okay? The gentle words carried an undeniable threat. Chuyer wisely chose to remain silent. Very good. You can go back now. By this point, Chuyer was petrified. His Highness is terrifying. Just then, Shi, having returned for the tea shop with Lin Yang, reported to Prince Zhao. The tea shop is doing very well. Madame Songge is busy and couldn't reply at the moment. Please rest assured, Your Highness. The prince wiped the blood from his hands. I understand. Now go and dispose of these bodies. Sure, he wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead. He couldn't remember how many times he had cleaned up this kind of mess. The demonic sect keeps sending assassins. I wonder how our lord offended them. As he dug a grave with a shovel. Prince Zhao gave him another order. Your task in the coming days is to protect Songge. You don't need to worry about anything else. In the evening, after finishing work at the tea shop, Songge threw himself into Prince Zhao's arms. Prince Zhao looked at him with doting affection. Suddenly, Songge twirled a strand of the prince's hair. Why do I smell blood? In private, he's a cold and decisive prince, but in public, he's a gentle and incompetent, even frail and easily swayed young lord. But just as he had his wife execute a group of assassins, his wife noticed something amiss. That day, having just finished working, Songge threw himself into the man's arms, acting spoiled. Even when tired, just a moment close to his husband would revitalize him. He gave Prince Zhao a large red envelope filled with the money he earned from the opening. Being remembered by his wife made the man overjoyed, though he said it wasn't necessary, as he hadn't helped much. But husband, you helped a lot. Taking care of the paperwork, the fruit tea recipe, these were all your contributions. Besides, think of this as pocket money to buy some flowers, calligraphy supplies, or the like. The man blushed. Who is this charming beauty you speak of? My dear husband, of course. Because you're handsome. Can I call you that? The man was so embarrassed he nearly burst into flames. It's not that I can't be called that. It's just a little. At that moment, Songge noticed something in his hair. Why do I smell blood? Prince Zhao's heart skipped a beat. The smell of blood was from the killing he had just done. He quickly regained his composure. It's probably the pork. Since it was opening day, I thought everyone would be tired, so I had Chuyer buy some fresh pork. Judging by the time, it should be almost done stewing. As Songge stood up, he smelled the aroma of meat. Did you make this yourself, husband? Foodie Songge looked at the man with adoration. Flustered by the attention, Prince Zhao softly replied, yes. Touched, Songge was beyond excited. Goodness, how many more surprises do you have that I don't know about? Soon, a delicious dish of braised pork was served. Prince Zhao dotingly added piece after piece of meat to Songji's bowl. If you like it, have some more. And so, stuffed full, Songge slumped back in his chair, patting his belly. Charming Beauty's cooking is absolutely amazing. Before bed, Songge got back to work. To help Prince Zhao ascend the throne, he needed sufficient financial support. Host, are you planning to help Prince Zhao accumulate capital through economic support? The sudden voice of the system startled Songge. He had almost forgotten he even had a system. Finding it useless, he had been treating it like a mirror, leaving it untouched. But he did have a question. Neither Prince Zhao's health nor his status made him a suitable candidate for the throne. So why did he have to make him emperor? The system explained, in the vast expanse of space, there's more than one world. Every novel written by an author creates a small world. However, these small worlds can become unstable. If the actual events deviate from the source material, there's a risk of collapse. This novel, you've only read half of it. Could it be that what's happening here has deviated from the story described in the novel, and that's why a transmigrator is needed to put the plot back on track? Correct. You read an earlier version, but the author recently made significant changes, changing the person who becomes king from the original 9th prince, Qin Shingtian, to the current 7th prince, Prince Zhao. And this miniature world is still following the original plot, causing a discrepancy with the revised source material and risking imminent collapse. Therefore, regardless of the process, the ending must not deviate from the source. This is the only way for this miniature world to survive. Songji's doubts were finally cleared, but he still felt something was off. That's right, something's wrong with the fruit on the table. I clearly left 3 pears this morning, but now there are only 2 left on the plate. I told Chuyer and Lin Yang not to enter the study without my permission. Because I lost a peach before, I specifically counted them today before leaving. It seems someone has been following me. With that, Songge tossed the fruit in his hand into the air. In the next second, a dark figure on the rafter caught it steadily. How did you find me? Didn't you understand my deduction about the missing fruit just now. Song-gu felt a little guilty, worried that his conversation with the system had been overheard. Moreover, he had only been guessing. He hadn't expected to actually flush someone out from the rafters. Thinking the figure was an enemy, Song-gu quietly reached for the box of throwing darts beside him. The next second, a flying dagger blocked his path. Song-gu was startled by this sudden action, breaking out in a cold sweat. If the dagger had been aimed at him, he would likely be dead. "Don't move, don't scream. If the master finds out I've been exposed, I'll definitely be punished." The naive 11 spoke while wiping a piece of fruit. But in his mind, Song-gu wondered, was this woman just talking to herself in the mirror? The master is, of course, Prince Zhao, and I, 11, am a subordinate brought to the capital from Sangxiong Palace by His Highness. He paused. "No, wait, I digressed. What I meant to say is, these peaches and plums weren't stolen by me. Don't wrongly accuse me. As a secret guard, I have professional integrity. I would never snack during work hours." "Really? But you clearly look like a glutton." Seeing himself questioned, 11 instantly bristled. "I'm not little. I'll be 15 after the new year, and we'll be able to take a wife." Chuckling inwardly, Song-gu thought, it's so easy to trick this kid. "So, you were sent by the prince to follow me?" "Of course not. The master told me to follow you to protect Madam's safety. Although I don't know why the prince would secretly be so kind, please don't tell him about today." Song-gu grinned mischievously. "What's in it for me if I keep your secret? I can guarantee I won't tell the master about Madam cuddling and hugging the male guests in the shop." Damn, this brat is insidious. Forced into a compromise, Song-gu was speechless. Deal. But the question remains, who actually stole the fruit? This easily flustered pretty boy is actually a high-level schemer. He used to be full of manipulative intentions towards his wife, but now he can't bear to be separated from her for even a moment. Having finished breakfast quickly, Song-gu was eager to go to the shop, although there's a lot to do with the new shop opening. "I'll try to come back early to be with you." Prince Zhao was pleased by these words, but he said, "Don't worry about me. Business isn't easy." Just as he was about to leave, Song-gu suddenly stopped. He leaned closer to Prince Zhao, saying he had a question to ask. As he spoke, his hand intentionally slid from Prince Zhao's fingertips up to his chest. "I want to know, my lord, do you trust me?" Prince Zhao was flustered. Of course I trust you." But inwardly, he was criticizing Song Ji's shamelessness. "Then, my lord, please rest assured. In the next month, the tea house will only have more customers, not fewer." Song Ji's face held an air of absolute confidence. Prince Zhao was stunned. So amazing. But in his heart, he wondered, how can he even predict these things? Song laughed. "This is all thanks to your highness's high-quality tea leaves and fruits. Your highness is even more capable than I thought." Prince Zhao wasn't sure if Song Ji's praise was genuine or just comforting. After all, a crippled and visually impaired man like him was considered useless in the eyes of others. "Have I truly been of help?" "Of course," Song-gu replied firmly. "After the tea house is stable, we'll have to consider the matter of succession." Unexpectedly, Prince Zhao suddenly grabbed his hand. "If Madam thinks I can be of use, could I accompany you to the tea house?" Song-gu worried about the gossip that might arise in a crowded tea house. But Prince Zhao said he wouldn't mind. "It's just helping out at my wife's shop. Even if people recognize me, it's not a problem." Prince Zhao proactively reached out and held Song Ji's hands. Playing the role of the innocent White Lotus, he knew Song-gu couldn't refuse him like this. As expected, in the next second, Song-gu was captivated and agreed to take him along. So, he's not planning on using a shadow guard and is going to take the field himself, Song-gu thought. Song-gu suddenly leaned down. "My lord, you said something wrong just now. You're not going to my wife's shop, but to our shop." These words sent a ripple through Prince Zhao's heart. I really like the phrase, our shop. Arriving at the tea house, Song-gu brought Prince Zhao a bowl of fermented glutinous rice balls. "This is today's special, very popular. If you come any later, you might miss out." Prince Zhao didn't understand. The rice balls didn't look particularly special. Brushing his hair aside, he took an elegant bite. The sight made Song-gu practically drool. "Oh my god, so sexy. I want to devour him." The moment the rice ball entered his mouth, Prince Zhao was filled with the aroma of wine. The sweet and soft texture was unique. Brother Song, feeling guilty, desperately tried to control his inner turmoil. Because yesterday's alcoholic beverages sold very well, he wanted to push some more similar snacks. "How does it taste?" "Delicious." As he spoke, a blush crept onto the man's face. Perhaps due to the alcohol, Qin Zhao seemed a little dazed. Brother Song suddenly realized the problem. It seemed he couldn't hold his liquor very well. Last time, you were completely out of it after just a little drink. Don't tell me you get drunk even from this. Qin Zhao was instantly speechless. As a man, how could he admit to such a thing? I'm not drunk. I just blush easily. Seeing the other's disbelief, he hurriedly added, my lord's alcohol tolerance is very good. Really, I'm not lying. Yes, my lord is the best. Brother Song couldn't stop smiling at his adorable demeanor. However, the harmonious atmosphere was suddenly broken by the fifth prince's unexpected arrival downstairs. Brother Song immediately had a bad feeling. It was only the second day of opening. This tea house hadn't become popular enough to reach the palace yet. To say it was a coincidence that he passed by, it was more likely that there were eyes hidden in the corners, constantly watching everything. The arrogant fifth prince, as soon as he entered, demanded to see the owner. His appearance instantly caused a commotion among the surrounding crowd. The fifth prince is here. Should we pack up and leave? Fortunately, Brother Song appeared in time. One honored guest. My surname is Song, and I'm the manager here. I'll take you to a private room. But in his heart, he was relieved that the original story's male lead, the ninth prince, hadn't come with him. So you're Princess Zhao's distant cousin. Pleased to meet you. But I'm not here for you this time. I recently acquired a fine white jade chessboard and want to play a game with seventh brother. At this moment, Brother Song was certain that he was being watched. Because the shop hadn't opened yet, he had brought Qin Zhao with him. No one knew the prince was in the shop. He should have invited him to the prince's mansion, but he came to the shop instead. Although Brother Song couldn't be sure of the other party's purpose, he absolutely couldn't let him meet Qin Zhao. Whether he won or lost, it would give the other party an opportunity to take advantage. Fortunately, he had previously hidden Qin Zhao in the back room, preventing the other party from having an opportunity. But he didn't know that the man was silently observing everything. He wanted to know how Brother Song would deal with this troublesome fifth prince. What a coincidence. His Highness drank quite a bit of imperial wine and is quite drunk. I'm afraid he can't accompany you. How about I have the audacity to play a game with you? The fifth prince slung an arm around Brother Song. If it's just a simple game, it's too boring. Let's make a bet. If you lose, then... The possessive prince was actually getting jealous. His cross-dressing wife was being pestered by his own brother. The wheelchair-bound prince couldn't sit still any longer. Just now, the fifth prince, who had come looking for trouble, decided to make a bet with Brother Song. If Brother Song lost the chess game, the tea house would be renamed after him, the fifth prince. Brother Song chuckled. If I lose, changing the sign is no problem. But if your highness loses, what will you do? The fifth prince was instantly furious. Everyone knew his chess skills were among the best in the capital. I will never lose. If I lose, I'll bark like a dog at the front door. When I win, I'll shut this shabby shop down for good. Brother Song forced a smile, speechless. Clearly, I should be the angry one. However, this willingly becoming a dog wager is quite novel. Their match, however, brought unexpected attention to Brother Song's shop. Seeing the growing crowd, Brother Song felt a surge of joy. Although the fifth prince was arrogant, he was good publicity. This alone would surely pique the curiosity of those who were still hesitant to visit. With a melodious tune, the competition officially began. I didn't expect this shabby shop of yours to have its own musicians. How interesting. Brother Song simply smiled at the fifth prince's teasing. He knew that Qin Zhao was cheering him on with music. My Zhao Tian Exener is simply too precious. I must reward them well after the match. Brother Song, his heart overflowing with joy, played the game with even greater ease. His technique, however, puzzled the fifth prince. He had studied Go for many years, but he couldn't figure out which master the other party had learned from. His moves seemed unorthodox, yet each one was interconnected. It was like an invisible net drawing him into a trap. Before he could react, Song Ge placed another black stone. This move shocked the fifth prince. The previously seemingly scattered placements were now all connected. Seeing Song Ge gaining the upper hand, the fifth prince began to feel uneasy. No longer underestimating his opponent, he decided to turn the tables. He finally started taking it seriously. Although he acknowledged Song Ji's skill, it ultimately couldn't compare to a modern Go player. Upstairs, Prince Zhao, playing the Qin, wasn't watching the game directly. However, the fact that it had gone on for so long against his fifth brother indicated that Song Ge was also skilled in the game. My dear wife, just how many surprises do you have that I don't know about? He was puzzled, however. Who was this person spying on the prince's mansion? They even deliberately stole fruit and left clues. Just then, 11, having returned from his investigation, reported, My lord, the matter you asked me to investigate seems to be shrouded in in mystery. Although I haven't been able to find the person who was secretly watching, I did hear that the Tang clan has been active recently. It seems a young member of the family has snuck out. Prince Zhao hadn't expected to hear about the Tang clan at this time. He knew them well. They were an assassination family who never revealed their true faces. 11 thought that there were very few families whose movements could escape even his lord's notice. Therefore, he suspected that this matter was related to the Tang clan. But without evidence, it was just speculation. After careful consideration, Prince Zhao worried that it was all a coincidence and ordered 11 to continue investigating. Downstairs, the competition had reached a fever pitch. The fifth prince's every move became increasingly tense. Every move he made now seemed to be within his opponent's calculations. Not only was Song Gu handling the situation with ease, he even played a few sacrificial pieces, seemingly to taunt him. If you're going to win decisively. Is this cat-and-mouse game really that interesting? Song Gu put on an innocent expression. No, Your Highness. Your skill is truly exquisite. I'm barely managing to keep up. The fifth prince was furious. Song Gu offered him a drink with a smile. You look parched from all the tension. Why don't you have a drink, Your Highness? Feeling thirsty, the fifth prince took the cup. The novel taste instantly tantalized his taste buds. It tasted of alcohol and citrus, with small particles mixed in. This is chrysanthemum peach wine. It has peach pulp in it. Tastes good, right? No, wait. He almost got sidetracked. He was supposed to be here on his ninth brother's orders, looking for evidence of his seventh brother's collusion with the demonic sect. Not only had he not seen any demonic sect members, but he was also being soundly beaten by a small tea house owner. Although he had started the provocation, this guy was truly infuriating, and now he was being given a sweetened drink. If he played the next move, his opponent would surely win. What was this guy up to? Seeing the opportunity was ripe, Song Gu decided to make his move. Your Highness, how about we add another wager? The fifth prince immediately became wary. Was this guy trying to take advantage of him? But the wager Song Gu proposed was unexpected. He wanted to draw the game. This kid clearly had a chance to win, but he deliberately proposed a draw. But if he lost, the story of him barking like a dog would definitely reach his father's ears. So a draw was the best option. We wouldn't have met if not for this game. We are both worthy opponents. If it's a draw, I'm willing to offer Your Highness a lifetime free membership card as a token of friendship. With this card, you can enjoy Go here as if it were your own establishment. But in return, I have a small favor to ask of Your Highness. Hearing this, the fifth prince didn't hesitate. If he were truly a member of the demonic sect, he would be avoiding the imperial court, not entertaining them so openly. It seemed his ninth brother was overthinking things. Prince Zhao was merely interested in his seventh brother's business acumen. What do you want me to do? Seeing that he had taken the bait, Song Gu revealed his request. Your Highness should know that my brother-in-law, Prince Zhao, comes from humble background. He's used to simple food, and his tastes lack a certain aristocratic refinement. But as a businessman, I naturally hope to elevate my establishment. I need someone of refined taste to help me appraise my tea and pastries. I wonder if Your Highness would be willing to assist me in this matter. Song Gu knew very well that in the book, the fifth prince was an unfavored son. Even his own mother looked down on him, calling him a useless Go player. Driven by a desire to prove himself, he was manipulated by the ninth prince. Now, his plan is to first feign harmlessness, lulling his target into a false sense of security. Then, he will display overwhelming skill, followed by a deliberate concession in the game, a display of loyalty. Finally, he'll utter the words that matter most. I believe Go is a most elegant pursuit. The board is a battlefield, and you are its most formidable king. You should lead your realm and make the most formidable decisions. Don't you agree? In a blink, the fifth prince, previously looking for faults, became engrossed in critiquing the food. The sesame cakes weren't delicate enough. The fruit wine selection was too limited. He acted like the owner. This infuriated Prince Zhao, who whispered to Song Gu, "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Compared to being used as a pawn by the ninth prince, Song Gu found this preferable. At least it brought customers to the tea house. Suddenly, Prince Zhao grasped his hand. "My lady, you've gone to so much trouble. You must be tired." The unexpected concern made Song Ji's heart race. No, I'm dressed as a man. If anyone notices, I'm done for." Song Gu quickly withdrew his hand. That was close. I should thank the fifth prince for his leniency. He then approached the still gorging fifth prince to express his gratitude, unaware of someone's darkening expression. "You needn't call me Fifth Lord. Since you're Prince Zhao's younger brother, call me Fifth Brother." After hearing Song-gu respectfully address the fifth prince as fifth brother, Prince Zhao, his face dark the entire time, wheeled himself over to them. Fifth brother, you can't play go with my younger brother, right? Now that he's sobered up, why don't you two play a game? The fifth prince was momentarily stunned. Why does seventh brother seem a bit frightening today? Meanwhile, in a corner outside the door, stood a masked man holding a piece of fruit. Just as he bit into it, another dark figure landed above him. When their eyes met, he placed a slender finger to his lips. Elsewhere, Yuan Shu's male lead found the fifth prince and inquired about the day's events. The fifth prince nervously claimed, I didn't find any demonic sect members. And even though I crushed Prince Zhao Go, no one came to help him. In reality, having not won a single game, he was determined to take this secret to his grave. The young woman thought she was the only one who had transmigrated, just as she was diligently working on her mission. Another transmigrator suddenly appeared, whose level was several times higher than her own. Was this person friend or foe? Just now, while preparing for the poetry gathering, Song-gu learned that female companions of princes could only sit in the outer area. The emperor was particularly strict about social hierarchy. Prince Zhao apologized profusely. A gathering intended only for the nobility might bore you, my lady. Song-gu said it was fine. Besides, nothing particularly interesting happened in the original story's poetry gathering, and her current capital accumulation was far from sufficient. It was better to calmly play out this scene. Hearing this, the man's eyes dimmed. Does he consider everything between us just a performance? Arriving at the palace, Song-gu curiously took in the beautiful scenery. Although seated some distance from Prince Zhao, she could still see him. To solidify her foolish Wang Fei persona, she waved enthusiastically in the prince's direction. The clueless fifth prince thought she was beckoning to him. The ninth prince facepalmed. Fifth brother, you've misunderstood. That's sister-in-law greeting seventh brother. Song-gu vigorously sent air kisses, perfectly portraying a lovesick princess. Prince Zhao responded with shy smiles. Satisfied with her performance, Song-gu settled back, ready to relax. Suddenly, a young woman beside her whispered a complaint. Is this all there is to ancient tea parties? So boring. Song-gu looked over. She said ancient. Could she also be? The young woman kept looking around. Where's the male lead? He better be handsome, or he won't be worthy of me. Then, she whispered to a butterfly on her hand. I know that to stop the ninth prince from becoming king, I have to make him fall head over heels in love with me, willing to do anything for me. That's how it always goes in novels. Song-gu was speechless. This girl's novel choices were a bit outdated. It seems she's a transmigrated too. Otherwise, she wouldn't say such things. And that butterfly must be her system. He just said he wanted to stop the ninth prince from becoming king. Perhaps I can cooperate with him. At this moment, a look of absolute confidence appeared on the young woman's face. Although I, Su Baiwan, am a newly entered consort and haven't yet gained the emperor's favor, I am the destined heroine, surrounded by butterflies. Reciting a few ancient poems will surely captivate the princes. Song-gu was instantly dumbfounded. What the heck is this girl planning? Just as Song-gu was about to try and speak to her, the emperor arrived. After the formalities were completed, Song-gu finally had time to chat with her fellow countrywoman. Psst, hello there, sister. Let me introduce myself. I am Prince Zhao's wife, Song-gu. I have a few things I'd like to ask you. Please don't be alarmed. Su Baiwan, whose system information wasn't shared, retorted, You're that blind prince's wife. What do you want to ask? Song-gu was speechless. Blind prince. This girl really knows how to talk. I just wanted to know, are you also a transmigrator? Su Baiwan face register de surprise. What? Are you too? Of course. My mission is to help the seventh prince, Prince Zhao. But judging by what just happened, it seems our missions are different. Song-gu deliberately concealed the part about helping Prince Zhao become king, wanting to see Su Baiwan's reaction. So what if they're different? Why should I tell you anything? Song-gu was a little taken aback. Since we're both transmigrators, wouldn't it be better to share information and help each other so we can go home? That's why I took the initiative and told you the truth. Seriously, didn't your system tell you? Transmigrators are rivals. Song-gu, whose system information was delayed, was completely confused. Rivals. That broken mirror never mentioned anything about that. Su Baiwan's butterfly system suddenly appeared in front of Song-gu. So you have the mirror system. That thing is so low level. How dare it give you such a high level mission? Shaoan, there's no need to waste your breath on a low level host. Just focus on completing your mission. Su Baiwan nodded in agreement. Song-gu was speechless. There was even a hierarchy among the systems. But she didn't understand. Why compete when we could cooperate and both benefit? That's because systems need to divide attack points to determine the ranking of points. Moreover, each system has different preferences and methods. And today, Xiaowan's mission is to shine at the Autumn Poetry Gathering, captivating the Emperor and all the princes. Don't even think about trying to steal her thunder. Sangha started to speak, then stopped. This idea was too outrageous. She must have read too many old harem novels. She kindly reminded Su Baiwan, the Emperor has always disliked the involvement of outer court women. Being too flashy will backfire. Unexpectedly, not only did Su Baiwan not appreciate the advice, but she also accused Song Gu of having old-fashioned, misogynistic ideas. As a woman, why can't I showcase my talent? Modern people should have modern, open minds. Your way of thinking is quite disgusting. Wait a minute, is she crazy? She's calling me old-fashioned. As expected of a host chosen by a low-level system. Useless in every way, I will prove to the world that even women can have ambition and choices. Song Gu was incredibly frustrated. Talking to her was like talking to a brick wall. This girl has definitely read too many cliché novels. She's completely brainwashed, thinking she's the chosen one. Well, what if she actually has a golden finger? Further persuasion would be pointless. In the end, perhaps this is just human nature. Clearly, cooperation is mutually beneficial, yet people insist on fighting. Whether it's man against man, woman against woman, or even between men and women, it's all the same. Just as all the princes finished their poems and the emperor's autumn poetry gathering was nearing its end, Su Baiwan suddenly raised her hand. Your Majesty, in my spare time, I was inspired to write a poem. May I present it, even if it's unworthy? This action made Song Gu uneasy. The transmigrated girl encounters another transmigrator. However, the other girl not only possesses a higher level system, but also considers her a rival. Also a transmigrator, Song Gu kindly advises her not to draw unnecessary attention to herself. But Su Baiwan, in order to gain the favor of all the men present and become the protagonist, ignores the emperor's known dislike of such displays. Su Baiwan rashly stood up to display her talent, instantly drawing ridicule from the many male officials. What a joke, a newly entered consort attempting to compose poetry. The emperor, clearly not recognizing her, learned she was the consort whose fragrant aroma attracted butterflies and asked her to recite a poem. Su Baiwan was secretly delighted, believing Song Ji's earlier warning was out of spite, simply not wanting her to be the center of attention. So, she recited the little pond poem she learned. Emerging tips of little lotus leaves, a dragonfly has already perched upon. The princes found this somewhat interesting. Su Baiwan felt smug, having chosen a poem by the esteemed Yang Wanli. However, the emperor was unimpressed. It's early autumn now. The lotus flowers have already withered. It's a bit out of season. Can you compose another? Su Baiwan agreed, but inwardly panicked. She discreetly asked her butterfly system to search for a relevant poem. She then presented a spring excursion to Qiantang Lake. Sangha watched, worried. It seems Su Baiwan hadn't grasped the emperor's implied meaning. As expected, the emperor's expression darkened. Consort, where are the Gushin Temple and Jiaoding Pavilion mentioned in your poem? Su Baiwan, a poor student, felt a pang of fear. She again resorted to her system for the locations. Song Gu, however, knew very well that Gushin Temple and Jiaoding Pavilion were famous landmarks of West Lake in Hangzhou. But they were currently in a completely fictional era. These places didn't exist. If she mentioned places even the emperor hadn't heard of, she might be taken for a spy, with dire consequences. So, Song Gu took out a silk handkerchief, intending to warn her. Feigning discomfort, she coughed twice. She gestured for Su Baiwan to look at the characters written on her table. Meanwhile, the system informed Su Baiwan the answer was Hangzhou. But after Song Ji's warning, Su Baiwan realized this place didn't exist in this world. Following Song Ji's hint, she claimed to have seen these places in a dream. Since childhood, she had fantasized about the palace, imagining it as a vast, ethereal wonderland. The emperor burst into laughter. A wonderland indeed. Just as they thought the crisis was averted, the emperor asked the newly appointed Dun to critique Su Baiwan's poems. After all, Minister Zhang was renowned for his literary talent and would surely provide consort Su with a satisfactory assessment. The man politely praised Su Baiwan's poems as exquisite. With just a few lines, she had captured the vibrant essence of spring. Hearing the praise, Su Baiwan's eyes lit up. It seemed she had succeeded, but Sangha sensed a problem. Sure enough, the man abruptly shifted his tone. However, a woman is still a woman. These poems lack grandeur and pale in comparison to the poems of the princes. Su Baiwan was bewildered. Why such a critique? It's not easy for a woman to compose. She should be encouraged, even if her work is somewhat lacking in refinement. This remark sparked another round of mockery. I told you that little consort's poetry wouldn't be any good. Haha. The emperor, lips curled in a slight smile, seemed pleased. The court is a serious place. How can it tolerate a woman's wit? Su Baiwan's heart sank. Everyone was laughing at her. Even the princes who had just praised her now revealed their disdain. This disgusted Sangha. These sycophantic wretches were truly repulsive. Overwhelmed by the ridicule, Su Baiwan collapsed. I used famous poems. There's no reason I shouldn't be appreciated. Sangha took a sip of tea and sneered. Su Baiwan glared at her. What are you laughing at? Are you happy to see me humiliated? Do you think it's easy for these high-ranking men, so full of themselves, to admit they are less talented than a newly arrived consort? Su Baiwan's heart tightened. Was the emperor doing this on purpose? He's the emperor. Does he need a purpose? Under imperial power, if the emperor says you're black, everyone will agree. If the emperor dislikes women writing poetry, even a goddess descending from heaven would be useless. This clash of human nature and power, hasn't it always been this way? Now that you live in this deep palace, you'll understand soon enough. On the way back to the prince's residence, Sangha looked out the window, silent. His every move was observed by Prince Zhao, who was feigning blindness. Are you tired, my lord? Would you like to lean on me and rest for a while? Sangha suddenly became energized. He happily nestled into the man's arms. Your poem today was superb. It was all right. My lord's poetry. It's not as captivating as the presence of the lady beside you. Her presence is more flavorful. Sangha suddenly addressed the person directly. He looked at the veiled Prince Zhao. How did you know that person was sitting next to me? Did you rely solely on sound localization? Sangha burst out laughing in the man's arms. A bewildered Prince Zhao looked confused. Why are you suddenly so happy, my lord? Sangha, now laughing with tears in his eyes, said, interesting. It's truly interesting. Although the world I came from wasn't great, this world is clearly worse. Song Ji's hand started to wander. Such a rotten place is truly unworthy of such a wonderful husband. So, let's change it together. The innocent and easily flustered prince blushed again. His cross-dressing wife had just initiated a kiss. The man couldn't handle it anymore. He could only steel himself and kiss her back. Just as Prince Zhao was returning to his room, he saw his wife rummaging through their belongings. But just as he approached her, Sangha plopped down on his back. The man shyly turned his face away. My lord, what are you looking for in these old things? Because I need to find something from before. Earlier that day, upon arriving at his shop, Sangha learned that someone had opened a tea house next door. Not only were the menus similar, but the prices were also much lower than Song Ji's. What's worse, the competitor had colluded with the landlord, promising to pay 5 times the current rent for Song Ji's shop. Faced with the suddenly enthusiastic landlord, Songgu immediately understood what was happening. His tea house was now established. As long as he maintained it, there would be a steady stream of customers. What his former boss wanted wasn't just the space, but also the renovations, the reputation, the customer base, and a complete monopoly on the fruit tea business. But even though Songgu had figured it out, as the landlord, all he cared about was who could offer the highest rent. So he bluntly urged Songgu to move out by the next day. Unexpectedly, Songgu remained calm and made a proposal the landlord couldn't refuse. Therefore, Songgu currently needed money. He needed to find the phoenix crown bestowed upon him by the emperor. Hearing this, Prince Zhao felt apologetic. Although he was a prince, he wasn't taken seriously. If he had more power and influence, his lord wouldn't be bullied. But Sangha didn't care about that. Perhaps you don't know, Your Highness, but it's precisely because I married you in name only that I had the opportunity to keep this imperial treasure. Seeing the phoenix crown, Prince Zhao was puzzled. Didn't you give the dowry, including this, to the He family? Sangha landed gracefully after a small jump. This is the small piece that broke off when the servant tripped during the wedding. The He family, fearing they would be blamed, didn't say anything. So, I secretly kept it in case of an emergency. I didn't expect it would come in handy today. Prince Zhao deliberately asked Song Ge, "Are you planning to use this to negotiate a higher rent with the landlord?" Song Ge denied it outright. "If I continue to raise the price, it will only lead to a pointless expenditure. Furthermore, the landlord will likely choose to ally with one side and intentionally drain the other's finances. I plan to dismantle this high-quality jewelry and directly purchase the tea house property. After all, with the quality of these gold and pearls, buying the entire building shouldn't be a problem. However, since this is an imperial gift, I need to make some arrangements before proceeding. So, my lord, are you planning to personally destroy the phoenix crown you only get to wear once in your life?" "Yes. This way, we'll have other properties besides the prince's residence and won't be subject to external constraints. Isn't that good?" The man looked at the hair ornament in his hand, silent. Song Ge wondered what was wrong. The next moment, he suddenly covered his mouth. "Am I particularly detestable right now? I didn't think of this. After all, the phoenix crown was a gift from your father. I not only gave it to the He family, but I also hid a part of it intending to sell it. I truly lack basic human decency." Prince Zhao quickly shook his head, indicating he hadn't thought that way. "I'm truly sorry, but this is the kind of person I am. Your Highness asked before what I was like before I crossed over. This indifferent, opportunistic, and manipulative person you see now is pretty much it. Back then, to secure business deals, he would resort to any means, feared by those around him. He lived a solitary life and had long since seen the coldness of the world. So, even if your Highness is disappointed, it's only natural. It's just that I'm afraid I can't change my personality. I'm truly sorry." Unexpectedly, the man pulled him into an embrace, while saying, "My wife doesn't need to change." He was inwardly relieved that Song Ge had this kind of personality. If Song Ge were merely someone who longed for a phoenix crown and fine clothing, it would have disappointed him. Now it seemed Song Ge trusted him enough to risk secretly selling an imperial gift. And to control someone, one must start when they loathe themselves. Song Ge had always been too impeccable. Today, he finally found the right opportunity. The man deliberately leaned close to Song Ji's ear. "I know my wife did all this for the prince's manor. If my wife hadn't spoken, I would have been completely unaware. But my wife told me everything exactly as it happened and showed me the side you most want to hide. I'm truly happy." Hearing this, Song Ge broke out in a sweat. He's actually this happy about this, unaware that the other party was doing it on purpose. The man's face was sincere. "Is there anything my wife needs my help with? Although Father Emperor may not remember how many pearls are on the crown, my wife must still feel some heartache selling her dowry." Song Ge was completely charmed, but in his heart, he loved houses more than gestures. "It's my incompetence, but I also hope I can share some of the burden for my wife." Song Ge was sweating profusely. This warm and soft white lotus. Did he get another one of his saintly nerves crossed? His whole body was radiating a saintly glow. But if he wasn't allowed to participate, he would probably be devastated. At this moment, both of them had their own ulterior motives. The man was thinking his purpose in returning to the capital was the same as Song Ji's mission. He had been reserved long enough. It was time to find an opportunity to agree to the succession ceremony Song Ge had proposed earlier. Meanwhile, Song Ge thought he could handle it alone and wanted to find a trivial matter to brush him off. But if he wanted Prince Zhao to back off and be obediently teased, there was only one way. So, Song Ge slowly approached the man. "If my husband is willing and doesn't dislike me, may I have your kiss?" After speaking, Song Ge began to fantasize about the man fleeing in embarrassment. After all, since their marriage, they hadn't had any intimate contact. He must dislike this kind of behavior. Sure enough, in the next second, Prince Zhao shyly turned his face away, stammering for a long time without uttering a complete sentence. He inwardly complained, "Isn't this woman shameless? Can she really do this even without feelings? How much does she like this kind of thing?" But if he refused, all the previous groundwork would be wasted. After some struggle, the man's face grew redder. "My wife worries too much. You're my wife, after all." As soon as he finished speaking, the man took the initiative and kissed Song Ge. Song Ji's heart tightened. No way, no way. Is he actually serious? However, the man's next actions drove him crazy. Even though it was both of their first kisses, they were still vying for dominance. To prove he was more experienced, he actually started a fight with the other's mouth. Just now, Song Ge, disguised as a man, suddenly took the initiative to ask for a kiss. It almost made the innocent prince flee in panic. He didn't expect this woman to be so shameless. But to prevent his plan from failing, the man could only steel himself and take the initiative to kiss him. But this action completely stunned Song-gu. He originally intended to make things difficult for Prince Zhao and make him back off. But this guy was actually serious. Although his research for so long hadn't been wrong, he was truly panicking. However, the moment their lips touched, the man's mind raced. How was it supposed to be done again? It seemed it wasn't just a simple touch. He reached out and cupped Song Ji's increasingly hot cheek. Their rapid breaths brushed against each other's faces. Just when Song-gu thought it was over, the man kissed him again, and this time it was different. He could clearly feel his mouth being invaded. At this moment, Song-gu was completely numb. Was this guy experienced, or had he suddenly awakened some kind of talent? He clearly looked as inexperienced as himself. How could he be so skilled? No. He was a modern person from the 21st century. All those novels weren't read in vain. How could he lose to someone from ancient times in this? Driven by competitiveness, Song-gu reversed the hold, pulling Prince Zhao closer and taking the dominant position. The now completely overwhelmed Prince Zhao was momentarily stunned. Confused, Prince Zhao wondered what was happening. Hadn't Song-gu just wanted him to initiate the kiss? Why the sudden reversal? This unexpected assertiveness flustered him. He debated whether he should relinquish control to please Song-gu. But then he thought, he was the man, how could he be submissive in this? Thus, neither willing to yield, they engaged in a battle of lips. After an indeterminate amount of time, the near-asphyxiated pair finally broke apart. Flushed, they both turned away, avoiding eye contact. Prince Zhao quickly wiped his mouth. Heavens, he'd completely abandoned all restraint. Suddenly, he noticed a distinct flavor. He abruptly turned back to Song-gu. "My lord, what did you eat earlier?" It was a sweet, fragrant taste. Song-gu, also wiping his mouth, replied without thinking, "I had an orange." The air thickened with awkward silence. They stared at each other, the realization of their indirect kiss dawning on them. Both blushed crimson. Unable to bear the awkwardness any longer, Song-gu abruptly stood. "Well, I'm going to rest now." Prince Zhao, completely stunned, could only mumble, "Go." The next second, Song-gu fled the scene. "Save me. Why'd he ask what I ate? Does he? Ugh, this is so embarrassing." He'd intended to fluster Prince Zhao, but he was the one who ended up running away. Ugh, I'm getting old. My heart can't take this. Back in his room, Song-gu splashed cold water on his face to cool down. But kissing Dai Ti felt so soft and tingly and exciting. It was almost addictive. What am I thinking? Losing control, Song-gu started banging his head against the wall. Get a grip. He's just acting. I can't let this affect the mission. Regaining his composure, Song-gu lay in bed, reasoning with himself. I've already decided. Someone like me isn't suited for marriage or any kind of conventional romance. This is just a tactical marriage. Once the mission is complete, I can go back to the modern world. However, as he drifted off to sleep, Prince Zhao quietly entered the room. He gazed at the sleeping Song-gu, a faint smile playing on his lips. Just watching him brought an inexplicable sense of joy. He gently blew out the single candle in the room. He leaned closer to his spouse, observing Song Ji's peaceful, emotionless face. A pang of unease struck him. Why is he so calm? Is this all just an act to him too? The next morning, Song-gu awoke to find the man he'd passionately kissed the previous day right beside him. To control his inner turmoil, he decided that after his intense makeout session with the handsome prince, the love-struck maiden within him couldn't handle it anymore. To prevent himself from losing control and doing something rash, he even considered sleeping separately. But faced with such a clingy husband, he didn't know how to bring it up. So, he slipped out of bed while Prince Zhao was still asleep and headed to the shop to work. Prince Zhao woke up to find Song-gu gone, a wave of disappointment washing over him. Meanwhile, a yawning Song-gu bumped into shopkeeper Qian, who was also up early. Shopkeeper Qian deliberately asked Song-gu if he'd found a new location. Song-gu chuckled. Why would I need a new location? He then presented the deed to the entire building. It seems you'll be paying rent to me from now on, Shopkeeper Qian. Shopkeeper Qian was shocked. Song-gu had bought the whole building. His shop was doomed before it even properly opened. To his surprise, Song-gu said he wouldn't evict him or raise the rent. Confused, Shopkeeper Qian asked, "Just say what you want, Shopkeeper Song. What are you planning? I know you're a smart man." Shopkeeper Qian, I have a mutually beneficial proposition. I call it a franchise agreement. Song-gu explained the modern concept of franchising. He knew Shopkeeper Qian was ambitious and wouldn't be satisfied with just one shop. With this this agreement, he could quickly expand to other locations, while Song-gu would receive 10% of the net profit. With shopkeeper Qian on board, the task of tripling Prince Zhao's estate's assets was nearly complete. Song-gu returned to the shop to begin interviewing staff. He had other tasks and couldn't stay there long. After dealing with a pile of matters, Song-gu realized it was already late. Wearing a fake smile all day had left him exhausted. This was the first time he'd come home so late. He wondered if Prince Zhao would be worried. No. He couldn't keep treating him like a virtual boyfriend. He would have to return to the modern world eventually. He had to find a time to explain things to him. It wasn't that he wanted to be irresponsible, but he simply couldn't have this relationship. Suddenly, the sounds of clashing swords came from behind him. He saw a white-haired man being chased by a group of assassins. Their appearance seemed to match the Tang clan, a family of assassins mentioned in the book. In the novel, the Tang clan acted as spies and assassins for various factions. Why were they here now? The next second, a large hand pulled Song-gu backwards. Don't be afraid. It's me. These martial artists are generally quite skilled, and the Tang clan is known for its ghostly movements. It's best if you don't get involved. Song-gu wondered why he had suddenly appeared. He couldn't see. Wasn't he afraid of grabbing the wrong person? He wanted to ask him, but unfortunately, he could only make muffled sounds. Even worse, he couldn't pry the other man's hand open no matter how hard he tried. Prince Zhao, seemingly teasing him, just smirked. When he finally let go, Song-gu immediately asked, "Why are you here? And how did you know it was me standing there?" Prince Zhao put his arm around Song-ji's waist. "Because you hadn't returned, I was worried. So I came looking for you." Prince Zhao nuzzled Song-ji's cheek as he spoke. "As for how I knew it was you, it's because I will never forget the sound of your footsteps." His words made Song-ji's heart race. Even worse, Prince Zhao was holding him tighter and tighter. He was practically lying on top of him. But just like before, no matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't break free. Prince Zhao pretended to be physically impaired. "I can only protect you if you stay close. Please don't leave. Of course, if you could also observe the movements of those martial artists for me, I would be even more grateful." Song-gu was internally screaming. How was he supposed to observe anything in this position? Poor Song-gu tried to remain calm as he awkwardly described the situation to Prince Zhao. The silver-haired, masked man being chased was skilled, but he was outnumbered. Song-gu suddenly remembered an important character from the book. That character was the silver-haired, masked man. In a novel he'd read, this man, Chiu Si Hui, was the catalyst for the entire story. After this point, the story shifted perspective to the male protagonist, the ninth prince, Qin Shingtian. From his introduction, Qin Shingtian was accompanied by a subordinate named Jiu. The protagonist had mentioned that Jiu had become eccentric after Qin Shingtian accidentally caused the death of his beloved. It seemed this man being chased was Jiu. However, as the two observed, something unexpected happened. The prince, flustered by his wife, was about to rest. He had just removed his blindfold. But when he saw his wife lying on the bed, bare back exposed, Prince Zhao was dumbfounded. What was he trying to do? Song-gu, having just finished bathing, was exhausted. "I'm so tired these past few days. My shoulders are so sore. Could you give me a massage?" Prince Zhao broke out in a cold sweat, frantically backing away. I'm not very good at that." Unaware that Prince Zhao could see, Song-gu said casually, "It's fine, just a quick rub." Prince Zhao had no choice. He closed his eyes and nervously approached. Song-gu enjoyed the comfortable massage. He hadn't expected him to be so good at it. He didn't know the man behind him was on the verge of a breakdown. "I must have lost my mind pretending to be blind. Heavens, someone save me." A while later, Song-gu, who had seemingly fallen asleep, suddenly sat up. He looked curiously at Prince Zhao. The book said Prince Zhao's legs were paralyzed due to a cold toxin. And because of that, he was also impotent. Although they were just roommates now, and he didn't intend to develop a real marital relationship, that he was really curious. Prince Zhao, pretending to be asleep, suddenly felt a chill down his spine. What was he planning? Damn, this woman is shameless. Author, doesn't your conscience hurt? The next morning, Song-gu strolled leisurely. The fragrant flowers and bird song made the environment particularly pleasant. At this moment, Prince Zhao's voice came from behind him. Worried about the prince's discomfort, Song-gu ran over. "I didn't expect the flowers in the prince's residence to be even more beautiful than the ones outside. However, some of them look difficult to keep alive. Did you hire someone to take care of these medicinal herbs?" The prince blushed slightly, embarrassed. "No, I didn't hire anyone. These are just some of my hobbies." Song-ji's eyes widened in disbelief. Do you mean to say you planted all of these yourself? Although the novel mentioned that Prince Zhao liked to grow flowers and plants. Seeing it with my own eyes is still quite shocking. It's rather embarrassing to admit, but although my father bestowed upon me this residence and status, I haven't returned to the capital often in the past 10 days and haven't been able to shoulder many responsibilities. So after saving up for the betrothal gifts, there wasn't much left. Song-gu was utterly shocked. Don't tell me. You take care of this entire residence by yourself every day. Wait a minute. Doesn't this Grand Prince's residence only have Li Nyang and Shui'er besides the two of us? The prince froze at his words. He lowered his head shamefully. I'm so sorry. I'm quite poor. However, his apologetic appearance was utterly endearing to Song-gu. Suppressing his inner excitement, Song-gu said, "It's all right. Being able to enjoy each other's company like this is quite nice." At this moment, a fruit tree caught Song-ji's attention. "Did you plant this too? It looks like the fruit is ripe. Would you like to try some?" Song-gu subconsciously shook his head. "The tree is too tall. Let's wait until we get a ladder." The prince lifted his handsome face and smelled the fruit. "It's all right. I can pick the fruit for you." Before Song-gu could react, Prince Zhao, using the strength of his arms, leapt up and firmly grasped the fruit. Song-gu, captivated by the prince's grace, stood frozen in place. He only came back to his senses after the prince landed steadily. "No way you can fly. Are your legs able to move now?" You could smell the fruit's location just by its scent. Faced with Song-ji's barrage of questions, Prince Zhao calmly wiped the fruit for him. "It's just like kung fu. My skills are still quite decent. It's just that I can't walk." Song-gu looked at the fruit in his hand, questioning his reality. "So that's how it is. Well, that makes sense." Wuqing, one of the 4 great constables, is also crippled, but is renowned for his exceptional light kung fu. I suppose this setting is plausible. Prince Zhao, however, caught on to something else. "You know this Wuqing." Caught off guard by the question, Song-gu replied, "No, he's just a character from a novel." The prince lowered his head and fell silent. "Is he a man?" Song-gu blinked repeatedly. "Are you asking about Wuqing?" "Yes, he's a man." "Why is he asking about this? Does he want to compare himself or something?" "I will practice my light kung fu diligently from now on. I hope you won't think about him anymore." His words startled Song-gu, causing him to drop the fruit. "Wait, are you jealous?" The prince feigned indifference. "No, I was just asking." Looking at Prince Zhao's increasingly reddened face, Song-gu grinned mischievously. "He's actually jealous of a fictional character. But, Prince Zhao, to me, you're also kind of like a fictional character." At this moment, Song-gu couldn't resist teasing him. He deliberately sat on the armrest of the wheelchair, looking at the prince playfully. "If I really changed my mind and wanted to leave, what would you do?" The prince panicked at his words and then pulled Song-gu into his arms. "No, you can't abandon me. It took me so long to finally meet you." Song-gu was relieved that he didn't say something cliché like, "Once I marry you, you can only be mine." Instead, he sounded like he was pleading. It truly made him feel pity from the bottom of his heart. He took the initiative to embrace the prince. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Don't worry, I won't leave. I'll stay with you until you no longer need me." "How could I not need you? I'm willing to give you everything I have, as long as you don't despise me." Song-gu suddenly reached out and touched his lips, stopping him. The soft, warm touch was mesmerizing. "Wow, this feeling of flirting in broad daylight is amazing. You worry too much. I don't need everything you have. All I want is for you to pick fruit for me whenever I want to eat some." In order to help Nanpei become the ruler of the world, the young woman decides to steal the protagonist's capable assistant, and his actions push someone's emotions to the extreme. Just now, as the two were preparing to go home, they stumbled upon the young master of the Tang clan being chased. It turns out that the old leader of the Tang clan suddenly passed away, and the deputy leader wanted to eliminate the soon-to-be successor, the young master. Just as the two thought the young master was about to die by the blade, a woman suddenly stepped in front of him and saved him, and her skills seemed quite good. After dealing with several of the assassins, she quickly escaped with the man, but the killers were still hot on their heels. Song-gu quickly got up. "We have to catch up." Prince Zhao, who was being pushed along, asked puzzled, "Why is Madame so agitated? Could it be related to the plot of the storybook you mentioned earlier?" Unaware that Prince Zhao was fishing for information, Song-gu explained, "This man is a key character in the book. He's also the subordinate of the 9th prince, the one who framed you and killed your fiancée. And the 9th prince, you know, is far from as harmless as he appears." Since the main storyline had already begun, Song-gu felt he should reveal some information to him, lest this pretty boy always suffer. That's impossible. Ninth brother usually takes good care of me. My husband believes him. Whatever you say, but you should understand, I am not from this world. I have no vested interest with you. Therefore, there's no need for me to lie to you. In fact, Prince Zhao had been feigning ignorance. He certainly knew what his younger brother was doing, but it had taken him a lot of effort to figure it out. Yet Song-gu knew it so clearly. Could it really be from a storybook? So, about tonight's Tang clan conflict, what does Madam intend to do? Song-gu replied, in the storybook, the plot here is that the Tang clan's plan doesn't succeed. Instead, the injured young master is found by the ninth prince passing by and taken in as an assistant. I originally wanted to follow this person in order to eliminate any future threats. After all, with his abilities, he would be too troublesome as an enemy later on. However, just now, seeing him with that girl, I've changed my mind. To make the stone-cold assassin in the novel show such a human expression, besides the deceased beloved mentioned later in the book, there probably wouldn't be anyone else. Perhaps from spending so much time with my husband, I've also developed a soft heart. Of course, I also want to know if love can change a person's life. Song-gu followed the blood trail left by the injured man, pushing Prince Zhao along. But now the blood trail disappeared. That silver-haired man's injuries are unclear. It's unlikely the bleeding would suddenly stop, Song-gu mused, imagining the scene of the man being carried. After all, only that way would the blood not drip on the ground. Prince Zhao, using his keen sense of smell, picked up the scent and directed Song-gu to head north. Song-ji's nerves were on edge. The Tang clan assassins were also nowhere to be seen. They're probably searching separately. It wouldn't be good if we ran into them. Although Prince Zhao had practiced martial arts since childhood, that due to his current physical condition, he could only use techniques that didn't require his legs. If they really encountered the assassins, it would be difficult to defeat them. Song-gu suddenly stopped, feeling apologetic. This is all due to my curiosity. My husband, please rest here where it's safe. I'll come back to you after I've taken care of this. No, I said earlier that we should stay together. We can't separate. Please believe me, I can protect Madam. A ripple of emotion spread through Song-ji's heart. At this moment, Prince Zhao was just as described in the book, radiating an aura of light even in the face of danger. It was precisely this that made Song-gu deeply fascinated by this character. Don't worry, I have ways to protect myself. Just then, Prince Zhao suddenly heard a whistling sound and, with a flick of his sleeve, blocked several hidden weapons flying towards them. Song-gu gasped. The person we're looking for is here. Song-gu turned to look at the dark alley behind them. As Prince Zhao had predicted, the injured white-haired man was hiding there. Seeing the man's displeasure, Song-gu quickly raised his hands, indicating he meant no harm and could even help them find a hiding place. The man's eyes were full of suspicion. Why help us? What do you get out of it? Song-gu naturally wouldn't reveal his true intentions. There are benefits, but right now, you just need to tell me what you need. After all, the assassins could be here any minute. We need to hurry. But the man refused outright. It's pointless. No one can help us. He turned around shakily, walking towards his beloved. While carrying out my mission, Tang Jiu said, I already knew of your abilities, so I knew you weren't pursuers. But Qianqiu's affliction is incurable. Even if your highness has countless medicinal herbs, it won't help. Hearing these words, the couple instantly understood the gravity of the incurable illness. He was carrying out a mission. Actually, I've been observing the prince's residence for a long time, envious of the life you two share. Unfortunately, envy is just envy. I can only blame myself for being too weak. Not only can I not resolve my own problems, but I've also disturbed her even in her final days, making them restless. Hearing this, Song-gu realized that this was the plum thief who had been surveilling the prince's residence. At this point, Prince Zhao asked him what he meant by incurable illness. The man was silent for a moment, then replied, Duan Changyou. Meanwhile, the woman kept murmuring, it hurts so much, as beads of sweat the size of beans rolled down her face. The man gently patted her shoulder, comforting her, it doesn't hurt anymore, it doesn't hurt. Just go to sleep. His eyes were filled with self-blame. Perhaps this is retribution. Do too many bad things, and everything you care about will be taken away. Song-gu still had many questions, but saving the woman was the priority. He quietly asked Prince Zhao, what is this Duan Changyou? Why is it said to be incurable? Even for you, the renowned Prince Zhao, the divine healer. Prince Zhao explained that the illness caused excruciating pain and would gradually worsen over time, eventually leading to the patient's coma or death. Listening to Prince Zhao's description description, Song Ge felt a sense of familiarity. Could this illness be because the man ate a jar of vinegar and had nowhere to vent his frustration? So he pulled his wife and slapped her mouth, asking for forgiveness. This action left Song Ge dumbfounded. Just now, based on the symptoms Prince Zhao described, Song Ge deduced that the young woman's incurable illness was likely appendicitis. And this illness, in modern times, could be cured with a simple surgery. To save the woman, Prince Zhao asked Song Ge to explain the details of the surgery. Perhaps he could try it. Song Ge was surprised. He hadn't expected Prince Zhao to dare to touch something completely unfamiliar like Western medicine. "I can't guarantee I can save her," Prince Zhao said, "but if I don't try, there won't be even a sliver of hope. What do you think?" The Tang clan leader, the man, fell silent. At this moment, he truly had no other choice. But before he could reply, the assassins caught up and surrounded Song Ge and the others. To prevent their plan from going awry, the man leading the assassins decided to eliminate all four of them on the spot. Tang Jiao immediately rushed forward, intercepting the man, and told Song Ge to take Qianxiu and escape. He would stay behind. Prince Zhao quickly blocked the attacks of several assassins surrounding Song Ge, while Song Ge took the opportunity to rush to the other end of the alley. With Tang Jiao holding them back, the three of them could indeed escape easily. But Tang Jiao's chances of survival were slim. He would no longer choose to run. He would risk his life for his beloved. Although the death of someone loyal to the ninth prince didn't matter, this outcome wasn't the most beneficial. Song Ge handed Qianxiu to Prince Zhao, wanting to save Tang Jiao. The usually reserved Prince Zhao suddenly sprang into action. Although he could easily dispose of these small fry, he still urged Song Ge to leave quickly. Unexpectedly, Song Ge took out the explosives he had developed. He had to save Tang Jiao. Otherwise, tonight's efforts would be in vain. "Young Master Tang," he said, "how about we make a deal? If I can give you and Miss Qianxiu the life you desire, what price are you willing to pay?" Tang Jiao found this absurd, telling him to just take Qianxiu and leave. What if it can really be achieved? Song Ge pressed. Before Tang Jiao could react, the assassins in front of them were blown up by the bomb Song Ge threw. Under Song Ji's protection, they quickly fled the scene. Fortunately, he had used his spare time to improve the explosives, which were now proving useful. Song Ge, sparks flying from his feet, pushed a handcart while shouting and occasionally throwing explosives, waking the surrounding residents. Prince Zhao realized that he was deliberately creating a commotion. As more and more residents were disturbed, the assassins would be unable to strike and would have to give up. The group ran all the way to Prince Zhao's residence. Now we're finally safe. After settling the injured Qianxiu, Song Ge asked Lin Yang to prepare some boiled gauze and sterilize the necessary surgical tools. But right now, we still need an anesthetic that can completely paralyze the patient. Prince Zhao said that the basic anesthetic has been prepared, but to make someone completely unconscious, Lin Yang is more skilled. Song Ge looked at the guilt-ridden Lin Yang. Although he had many questions in his mind, saving a life was the priority. After Lin Yang administered the medicine, Song Ge briefly explained the entire surgical procedure to Tang Jiao. Prince Zhao also said that this was his first time performing surgery, and the outcome depended on fate. Tang Jiao's heart instantly tightened. But regardless, he thanked Prince Zhao from the bottom of his heart for being willing to help. At this moment, Song Ji's thoughts were racing. In the original book, Tang Jiao was the male lead's most trusted subordinate. But at the same time, he was also a pawn that could be discarded at any time. And now was the best time to negotiate with him. With just one word, he could pledge his loyalty to Prince Zhao, just like he did to the ninth prince in the book. But he didn't want to take advantage of the situation. Compared to those so-called heroic sacrifices, he preferred happy endings. Song Ge placed Qianxiu's hand in Tang Jiao's. "Young Master Tang, if you're worried, then hold Miss Qianxiu's hand and pray for her. From a certain perspective, the body temperature of a loved one is also a form of spiritual support for the patient." Meanwhile, Prince Zhao, who suffered from night blindness, painstakingly prepared several candles for himself. For some reason, an inexplicable emotion welled up in his heart, making him feel listless. The oblivious Song Ge asked curiously, "Husband, what are you preparing so many candles for?" Prince Zhao removed the silk band from his eyes. "It's a habit of mine. It's more reassuring to operate with my eyes open." Song Ge suddenly had a strange feeling. Why did he feel like Prince Zhao could actually see at this moment? Prince Zhao disinfected his hands with strong alcohol. Then, with the assistance of Song Ge and Lin Yang, he began to operate on Qianxiu. not daring to be careless. He was already drenched in sweat. With the final stitch completed, thought the first appendectomy was finished. Chinchio's breathing was now steady. All that remained was to prevent wound infection and wait for her to wake up. Tang Jiao expressed his gratitude profusely. Thank you both for your hard work. I'll watch over Chinchio here. You two should go and rest. Songge was a little worried. Young Master Tang, you're injured too. Don't you need a rest? He was unaware that someone behind him was already seething with jealousy. Thank you for your concern. I want to stay here until she wakes up. It was a polite remark, but Prince Zhao felt incredibly irritated. After saying goodbye to Tang Jiao, Songge pushed Prince Zhao back to rest. The intense work over the past day and night had exhausted him. Drowsy and hazy, he mechanically helped Prince Zhao undress. Unexpectedly, Prince Zhao suddenly had a mischievous thought. My wife, could you bring your face a little closer? Songge hesitated for a second, then leaned down towards him. Like this. But in the next second, Prince Zhao wrapped his arms around Song Ji's neck and kissed him. Songge was instantly stunned. However, even more outrageous things were yet to come. Every time the prince got jealous, he needed some closeness with his wife to be appeased. However, his wife was Yi Xin, Shangyao, Chanhui, Shandai. This turned the newly smitten prince into a grumpy vinegar jar. Just now, the jealous prince was full of resentment. As soon as Songge leaned closer, he pulled him in and kissed him passionately. Song Ji's mind went completely blank. Almost suffocating, he kept hitting Prince Zhao, but the other party didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. Finally breaking free, Songge leaned back defensively. Prince Zhao, what are you doing? Are you stressed from the surgery, or are you possessed? The prince sighed, his eyes filled with complex emotions. He gently caressed Song Ji's cheek. My wife, you seem to care a lot about that young master from the Tang clan. Is he better than me? The prince's hurt expression left Song bewildered. He wondered what was going on. Why was he even comparing them? Husband, why are you comparing us? You should know that the reason I care about Tang Jiao is simply because of his crucial role in the plot of the book. Did I disturb you? Your husband is in the book. Is that the problem? Prince Zhao's sudden closeness made Song Ji's heart flutter. His eyes were clearly unseeing. Yet why did Songge feel like he was being seen through? Feeling uneasy, Songge created some distance, looking away. What's wrong with him? It's like he's become a bit clingy since that kiss. Seeing Songge didn't answer, Prince Zhao felt increasingly gloomy. Perhaps I should ask this. In your eyes, are you looking at me or the me in that picture book? A guilty Songge instantly broke out in a sweat. He hadn't expected his little secret to be discovered. Although the Prince Zhao in the novel and the Prince Zhao before him were the same person, there were indeed some differences. Realizing the other was jealous, Songge repeatedly apologized. It's my fault, my lord. Have I made you feel insecure? Then what do you want me to do to make you feel better? Prince Zhao said this, but his heart felt heavy as if weighed down by a stone. He didn't understand why he felt this way. He knew he could follow up on Song Ji's words and extract the plot from the picture book, but doing so wouldn't make him happy. Songge sighed helplessly. How about this? I'll tell you everything I know from the novel Rise of the King right now. If you could tell me your thoughts after hearing it, I would be very grateful. Song Ji's offered to discuss the contents of the picture book surprised Prince Zhao. Is he actually willing to tell me? Songge began to narrate the plot of the novel. Among all the princes, the eldest prince, born of the empress, and the emperor's most favored third prince, were the most likely to inherit the throne. But after the emperor fell seriously ill, worried that the old emperor would appoint the third prince as a successor, the prime minister, who was the empress's father, took the eldest prince to the emperor and forced him to abdicate. To eliminate any opposition, the eldest prince then eradicated all the other imperial sons. So, by the time the story pauses, only the ninth prince, who had left the palace early and was disabled, had escaped the eldest prince's notice. And the Tang Jiao we rescued yesterday was the one who sacrificed his life to cover the ninth prince's escape at that time. Finally, the ninth prince fled to your residence to seek refuge. And this part is my favorite. At that time, you stood alone at the gate of the residence, facing thousands of troops without flinching. What imposing presence. But I've only read this far in the novel. I haven't finished it yet. However, I did see some spoilers before and know the ending. The ninth prince joins forces with martial arts factions to attack the imperial city and ultimately becomes the new emperor. After listening, Prince Zhao's voice was a bit dry. So, do you really like the me in the picture book? Song Gu suddenly felt overwhelmed. He had wanted to change the subject, but the conversation returned to this point again. A guilty Song Gu broke out in a cold sweat. My lord, are you missing the point? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you be asking about your own ending? Unexpectedly, Prince Zhao lunged forward. But I care more about what you think. To reassure him, Song Gu took the initiative to embrace him. Don't worry, I can distinguish between fiction and reality. And my fondness for the characters in the novel is mostly just a kind of appreciative liking. I also understand that you are the one who will help me go home. Prince Zhao's heart sank at these words. Go home. Does he want to go home that much? By the way, I asked you before if you wanted to ascend the throne. Have you decided? Of course, if you really don't want to, I won't force you. Prince Zhao's heart was now extremely complicated. He thought of how he was always mocked as a child, of his mother's obsession with revenge. His sole purpose in life was to obtain the throne. At this moment, Song Ji's call brought his thoughts back to reality. If I become emperor, will you leave? Song Ge looked at Prince Zhao's serious expression. When I explained time travel to you before, I said that my body in reality is critically injured, so I need to complete the system task to come back to life. Of course, I don't have any obsession with going back quickly. It mainly depends on your choice. I understand, Prince Zhao said, his grip on Song Ji's hand tightening. He knew the price of ascending the throne, Song Ji's disappearance. The thought made him lose his composure. Song Ji's heart trembled as he was suddenly pushed down. However, what happened next left him even more dumbfounded. The prince had just fallen for his wife, but she was Yi Xin Shengyao Huidao Shandai. This turned the usually composed prince into a bundle of nerves. Losing control, Prince Zhao pounced on Song Ge and bit hard into his neck. At this moment, Prince Zhao was like a wild beast savoring its prey. No matter how much Song Ge struggled, it was useless. Only when his heart raced uncontrollably did he pull back and apologize. I seem to be a bit tired. I don't know why, but lately I've been doing things that aren't like me. Song Ge was completely bewildered. This explanation seemed too perfunctory. He touched his still, stinging neck, wondering if Prince Zhao had been through some kind of trauma. And his gaze, just now, as if he were staring right through him. Could he see, or was it all just his imagination? Unexpectedly, Prince Zhao suddenly pulled his hand away and, in a very peculiar way, cleaned the wound. At this moment, Song Ge felt nothing but utter bunkoi. This guy was off, very off. With bloodstains at the corner of his mouth, Prince Zhao seemed satisfied with his handiwork. It's all better now. I can't taste the blood anymore. Then, as if nothing had happened, he pulled Song Ge towards the bed. Let's sleep. As for the answer you want, we'll talk about it tomorrow. But how could Song Ge possibly stay calm? What the hell was he playing at? After all these bizarre actions, he just wanted to sleep. Song Ge wanted to strangle him. You're unbelievable. I never thought the refined and elegant White Lotus could turn into a man-eating flower in a second. Although he knew even a rabbit bites when cornered, he really didn't understand what Prince Zhao was so anxious about. He looked at the now quiet Prince Zhao. Perhaps, like ninth Prince Qin Xingtian, he has secrets the book doesn't mention. But is this secret good or bad? After this incident, everything returned to normal. After the surgery, Chinchou regained consciousness. Seeing them embrace, Song Ge felt relieved that he had made the right choice. Meanwhile, the chain store business was thriving. With sufficient startup capital, Song Ge began working on hot pot and barbecue restaurants, as well as a daily necessities store. However, he urgently needed someone skilled in mechanics. Just then, Tang Jiu passed by and offered his help. Song Ge pulled out the blueprints, explaining he wanted to create a device that could automatically grind grain and divert river water for irrigation. These novel functions were unheard of, but Tang Jiu said he was willing to try. Song Ge felt a little embarrassed asking the young master of the Tang clan to do such menial work. But Tang Jiu said it was no trouble. After all, you and the divine Dr. Qin Wang are my benefactors. I will do everything in my power to repay this kindness. The couple stood there stunned. The title divine Dr. Qin Wang was actually an alias Prince Zhao used while wandering the martial world to avoid pursuit from the demonic sect. While this matter was supposed to be a secret, Prince Zhao calmly asked, "How did you know?" Tang Jiu knelt on the ground, filled with shame. "Rest assured, I mean no harm. I just wanted to confirm. I was previously hired to monitor the prince's manor, trying to ascertain the connection between Prince Zhao and the divine Dr. Qin Wang of the martial world. I deeply apologize for the trouble I've caused, but even so, you still saved Qinxiu and me. Therefore, I'm willing to tell you everything I know. Prince Zhao kept staring at Song Ji's neck. The bite mark is so deep. Anyone should be able to see it, right? Meanwhile, Tang Jiu revealed everything he knew. After he was framed and forced to leave his sect, he was rescued by Qinxiu, who had also left home. After recovering, he went to the black market to make a living, taking on various confidential missions as a Tang clan disciple. Although the black market never reveals the client's information, I managed to glean some clues from the street. The person seeking information about the prince's manor should be from the imperial palace, and someone quite familiar with the rules of the martial world. If you have any suspects, you must be wary of them in the future. After listening, Song Ge had an answer in his mind. Among the princes in the palace, the only one who could have close ties with people from the martial world was 9th Prince Qin Xingtian. Not wanting to cause further trouble, Tang Jiu said he would leave as soon as Qinxiu recovered. Song Ge, who had finally found a capable assistant for Prince Zhao, wouldn't agree. It's no trouble at all. If you have nowhere to go for the time being, why not stay at the manor and work as guard for a few days? I suspect the assassins from that night are already aware of my presence and Prince Zhao's. After all, the prince's wheelchair is quite conspicuous. Anyone asking around can easily figure it out. Since the danger already exists, it's better to face it head on. A few days later, Qinxiu, who had been bedridden, had mostly recovered. If it weren't for the two benefactors who saved me, I, Feng, would have thought I was done for this time. Hearing the surname for the first time, Song Ge furrowed his brow slightly. He actually has the surname Feng. If he remembers correctly, in the novel, those with the surname Feng, besides the general bestowed the surname by the emperor and the Dichuan lineage, there shouldn't be anyone else. Miss, could you be a descendant of General Jinghua? The young woman looked embarrassed. That's right. I, Feng Qinxiu, am the general's daughter. Due to some family matters, I'm temporarily unable to return home. At this moment, Tang Jiu's jaw dropped. Why didn't you ever mention this to me before? The young woman blinked playfully. You didn't ask. Song Ge looked at the two with a gossipy expression. Are you two eloping? The young woman slung an arm around Tang Jiu in a carefree manner. Little Jiu and I are like brothers. How could we elope? Song Ge was shocked. It seems this girl hasn't realized the other party's feelings. I ran away because I wanted to see more of the outside world. After all, the army doesn't use female generals. Being confined to my room, waiting to be married, is really boring. So I thought, no matter what, I have to indulge myself first. After seeing all the wonders of the world, I can obediently go back and accept my fate. Song Ge understood her feelings very well. After all, her martial arts skills were no less than a man's, yet she had to suffer the constraints of feudalistic thinking. At this time, Chuyer rushed in, flustered. It turned out that his good-for-nothing father was causing trouble at the prince's residence again. The cunning Prince Zhao had originally intended to coax his wife and make her happy. However, overcome with possessiveness, he started kissing his wife again. Just now, having learned that his good-for-nothing father had come to the door, Song Ge knew he was up to no good. Sure enough, as soon as his father entered, he started complaining, saying that Song Ge didn't know how to respect his elders. Song Ge couldn't be bothered and didn't even want to look back at him, because the two of them hadn't come because they missed him. Instead, it was because their good-for-nothing older brother had caused trouble, and they came to ask him to smooth things over. Himu was sweating anxiously. Her eldest brother, Li, worked at the yamen, but had suddenly been imprisoned, accused of embezzling grain. Although Li was outspoken, he was always generous to others and would never do such a thing for personal gain. Song Ge couldn't help but complain inwardly. With his arrogant and domineering personality, it was more than just being outspoken. Letting him work in officialdom was like digging his own grave. So he knew that this guy would eventually cause trouble and implicate the prince's residence. Otherwise, why would he have used all of his dowry to sign that contract? Since they chose to take his dowry, why should he bother to help them when things went wrong? What's the use of looking for me? You should go to the authorities. Hearing this, his good-for-nothing father flew into a rage. He's your brother. If you ask the prince to intervene, maybe they'll let him go. Disgusted, Song Ge used almost all his strength to say, You say you're asking the prince, but you don't have the slightest attitude of asking for a favor. It's more like you're ordering him. Song-gu truly despised how they looked down on women and the disabled prince. Since you don't even understand basic etiquette, there's nothing more to say. Please leave. Wanting to save her son, Yimu stopped Hifu, who was about to explode, and persuaded him to calm down as saving their son was the priority. So the two of them lowered their posture and asked for help again. At this moment, Prince Zhao took Song Ji's hand and wrote in his palm, "Do you need help?" Song-gu, who had been irritated, suddenly felt a little better. Yes, at least he was on his side. He gently squeezed Prince Zhao's fingertip, indicating no. Then, he took out the previous contract from his pocket. It's not impossible for the prince's residents to help, but the premise is that the He family can truly pay the corresponding price. As the breaching party, not only do you have to pay the prince's residents 3 times the dowry, but you also have to hand over 3 sets of imperial wedding garments. Realizing he had been outmaneuvered, Hifu instantly exploded. Asking my own daughter for help doesn't count as making a demand. This is absurd. Even if you went to the authorities, they wouldn't uphold this. Precisely because it's absurd and no one would uphold it, I simply won't help. After all, the signatures are all there. Even if you accuse me of being unfilial, what would people say? Of course, it's not that there's no room for negotiation. After all, you were once my family. You can choose to trade the entire He family for your precious son. I'm not forcing you in any way. You can also choose to scold me and then find another kind-hearted person who can help you. After Hifu and Himu left, Prince Zhao, who hadn't seen his wife for a while, came to their room. However, as soon as he entered, he saw his wife hiding under the covers. "My wife, what are you doing?" Suddenly, Song-gu, pretending to be asleep, looked extremely unwell. "I'm playing ostrich. You probably don't know what that animal is, but I don't want to think or explain anything right now. Too much has happened recently. If I don't relax a bit, I feel like my nerves are going to snap." Prince Zhao was standing there. Was he unhappy? He slowly walked forward and lifted the blanket. As he crawled in, he knocked over the lamp, startling Song-gu. "What are you doing here?" Song-gu said, his small hands tugging at Prince Zhao, trying to pull him out. The man grasped his hands. "My dear wife, I want to be with you." He gently kissed Song Ji's fingertips. "Actually, it's not difficult to save your brother. Even if I had no power, the officials would still give me some face." Song Ji's heart raced. His face flushed. He thought to himself, why has Prince Zhao suddenly become so clingy lately? He quickly withdrew his hand and coughed awkwardly. "No need," he said. "I've made quite a few connections while running my business. I can ask them about He's Zongxing's situation. So, you're ultimately planning to help them?" Prince Zhao asked. Song-gu was silent for a moment. "It depends on their behavior. If the He family is willing to use their entire fortune to exchange for their son's safety, then that means this whole thing can be easily manipulated. At least they still have some semblance of human decency." Song-gu thought his own past. His parents abandoned him before even giving him a name. The name Song-gu was given to him by his adoptive mother later on. But before that, he didn't understand what family meant. Thinking of this, his mood plummeted. He shook his head repeatedly, trying to shake off the negative emotions. "Let me be a stick of incense for a while. Just a stick of incense." Prince Zhao, hidden under the blankets, was obscured by the dim light. If this were before, he would have been disgusted by Song Ji's negativity, perhaps even abandoning him. But now, he wanted to hold the sorrowful Song-gu tightly. Following his impulse, he picked up Song-gu, still wrapped in the blanket. He didn't understand what kind of emotion this urge stemmed from. Perhaps it was the desire to observe his prey up close, indulging in a fragile sense of control, just like when he bit him before. Song Ji's face flushed crimson as he poked his head out. "My lord, what are you doing?" The man held him even tighter. "Don't move, my dear wife. Let me hold you for a while." But the next second, he opened his mouth again. This time, he didn't bite down hard. He held the struggling Song-gu and nibbled all over him. Perhaps it was time to agree to his plan. After all, the original reason for returning to the palace was for the throne, and that position is the sole reason for my existence. Song-gu, I made up my mind. I will ascend the throne and help you return home. If that's what you desire, my dear wife, then I will give it my all. As soon as he finished speaking, Song-gu began to feel faint. Dizzy, he seemed to hear someone calling his name. And within the calls, there seemed to be a faint beeping sound. For a moment, he felt like he saw the modern world. When he came to, he saw Prince Zhao asking him, "My dear wife, is that your answer? Are you happy now?" Song-gu listlessly replied, "As he pulled Prince Zhao down to rest with him, He thought he was just exhausted. He didn't know that soon he would return to the modern world, separated from him. The young woman had wanted to test if the man was faking his blindness, but ended up blushing from his gaze. Just now, Song-gu, who had been held by the man all night, froze in place. His mind filled with inappropriate thoughts. He poked the pectoral muscles in front of him. The feeling was simply too good. But for some reason, he felt like he was constantly meeting the man's gaze. Yesterday, he almost felt the urge to kiss him. Besides, there was no braille in ancient times, yet his handwriting was so good. It didn't make sense. Suddenly, the man's voice reached his ears. "My dear wife, you're awake." Song-gu jolted, his face burning red as he quickly retracted his hand. "Zhao Zhao, let me go. I can't get up like this." The man grinned mischievously. He rolled over, scooped Song-gu up, and hoisted him onto his shoulder. The sudden movement stunned Song-gu. He screamed silently in his mind, "Help. Why has this guy suddenly become so handsy?" At this moment, Song-gu was focusing all his energy on breathing. However, this was a good opportunity to test his eyes. He pushed Prince Zhao away forcefully. The bag behind me seems to be tied in a knot. My lord, can you help me?" He turned his body to the side. However, Prince Zhao, still pretending to be blind, found that there was no bag behind him. Could it be that Song-gu was doing this on purpose? Prince Zhao sat up casually. "If I can be of assistance, my dear wife, please bring the knot closer." Song-gu pretended to have positioned himself and pulled Prince Zhao's hand towards his waist. If Prince Zhao had shown even a sliver of hesitation or refusal at this moment, it would have proven he could see. Meanwhile, Prince Zhao, pretending he couldn't see a thing, was actually panicking inside. Is this woman deliberately seducing me? His heart pounding, he feigned composure as he adjusted Song-ji's sash, thinking that, knowing Song-gu, this was most likely a test. Song-gu, whose heart was also racing, blushed, belatedly realizing how ambiguous this situation was. Prince Zhao, still pretending to be blind, suddenly said, "How come this doesn't feel like you're back?" He then deliberately pulled Song-gu closer, as if to double-check. Mortified, Song-gu quickly pushed him away. "Ugh, this is so embarrassing." Having scored a point, Prince Zhao smiled knowingly. "My dear, perhaps you've been overworking yourself lately. I shall brew you some nourishing soup later." Song-gu, his first attempt at probing a failure, covered his face with his hands and sighed. "Thank you." After that, Song-gu tried various methods to figure out the truth about Prince Zhao's eyesight. When Tang Jiu brought in a model of a windmill, Song-gu directly asked Prince Zhao what he thought of it. But Prince Zhao remained non-committal, deflecting with whatever my dear thinks best. Undeterred, Song-gu then made a stargazing pie for Prince Zhao to try. Fighting back the visual assault, Prince Zhao took a bite. "It's delicious, my dear." When they went out, Song-gu deliberately scattered pebbles on the ground. But even with the bumpy ride, Prince Zhao remained unfazed. Finally, Song-gu decided to use his ultimate weapon. He abruptly stood up from the tub where he was bathing. Prince Zhao, caught off guard, struggled to maintain his composure, managing to stay silent. Defeated, Song-gu slumped onto the table. This man is infuriatingly gentle. He smiles all the time. There's no finding a crack in his facade. He couldn't bring himself to use any other, more drastic methods. He couldn't risk hurting him. Just then, the sounds of scuffle came from outside. The men who had chased Tang Jiu had finally arrived at the prince's residence. Watching from a hidden corner, Prince Zhao thought, it's time to close the net. Somewhere in the imperial palace, the original male lead of the story was meeting with the original female lead. I've searched outside the palace as you instructed, but I haven't found anything. The masked man, gravely injured, wondered, could it be that the divination was wrong this time? Not that I doubt your divine abilities, of course. After all your previous prophecies have come true. The girl, who had also transmigrated into this novel, was surprised. According to the original plot, there shouldn't be any mistakes. Unless, Your Highness, perhaps you could tell me a bit about your siblings. It might help with my calculations. The ninth prince chuckled. While your abilities are impressive, you are still a descendant of a heavenly master. Knowing too much won't do you any good. It's best not to get too involved. He still found the whole situation absurd, especially her claim of being able to see the future and her offer to help him ascend the throne. Nevertheless, he remained cautious. The girl sensed his hesitation. You needn't worry, Your Highness. I am here because of you. I am entirely devoted to you. However, their conversation was overheard by someone outside the door. Su Baiwan, who had snuck out to recite poetry in the middle of the night, never expected to encounter another transmigrator. and this one seemed to have malicious intentions, with a mission completely opposite to his own. I must inform Song-gu. Back at the prince's residence, Song-gu, having laid an ambush, easily captured the intruders. To prevent future trouble, he decided to make a deal with them. After all, they had trespassed into the prince's residence. They couldn't escape the charge of attempted assassination. But if they were willing, the prince's residence would provide them with food, shelter, and clothing. They would no longer have to live in the shadows as assassins, but could live in the light. Several days later, the former assassins quickly became valuable assets to Song-ji's business. Everything was proceeding smoothly according to plan. That evening, Song-gu cheerfully discussed future arrangements with Prince Zhao, who was working on jade carvings. But then, a wave of dizziness washed over him, and he heard someone calling his name again. The voice kept urging him to wake up no matter what. But he lay in his hospital bed, unable to move. A few seconds later, Song-gu came to his senses, realizing that he was about to wake up in the real world. The Song-gu here would disappear completely. The girl, having transmigrated to ancient times, was now returning to the modern world. This left the internet-addicted prince, who had finally opened his heart, not completely turned into dust. Just now, Song-gu, who had time-traveled here, realized that his real-world self was about to wake up, and he in this world could disappear at any moment. But at this very moment, another time traveler appeared, and this one was on the opposing side. Song-gu warned Prince Zhao to be wary of the divine maiden beside the ninth prince. According to Sophie, that person should be the time traveler supporting the ninth prince's claim to the throne. Prince Zhao remained calm. So, ninth brother, like me, now knows the subsequent plot. Thinking about his impending departure, Song-gu felt melancholic. Actually, I wanted to ask you to take me to the palace to talk with him. But now it seems it's too late. Prince Zhao was caught off guard. My lord, what do you mean? Song-gu, wanting to avoid the topic, changed the subject. Are your legs any better lately? How much longer until you can stand? Prince Zhao gripped Song-ji's hand tightly, forcing him to answer the previous question. Song-gu stirred the water absent-mindedly. He looked at Prince Zhao helplessly. What I'm about to say, you need to listen carefully. The estate's businesses have basically spread throughout the capital. It won't be long before they form a stable revenue network. What I mean to say is, you're familiar with the management style of these shops. Manager Lee is responsible for collaborating and negotiating with the partners. So, whether I'm here or not, it's the same. The newly recruited Tang clan disciples, their loyalty is still unconfirmed. Whether you keep them or let them go is up to you once the effects of the poison on them wear off. Prince Zhao suddenly felt uneasy. My lord, why do you sound like you're preparing to leave? Not preparing, but I might completely disappear at any time. The prince's heart sank. My lord, what do you mean? Unable to meet his gaze, Song-gu looked away. How should I put it? Perhaps my body in the real world has been revived, causing me to sense its call recently. But this is still unknown. I'm just worried the separation will be too sudden, so I wanted to tell you in advance. With complex emotions, Song-gu stroked his hair. If I go back, there's no need to force you to ascend the throne. If you're not interested in the throne, the current businesses are enough for you to live a prosperous life. Of course, if you want to ascend, I suggest you don't get involved in the power struggle for now. You can let the other princes. Are you sincere? Prince Zhao suddenly interrupted him. Song-gu was taken aback, speechless. Before he could react, Prince Zhao pulled him halfway into the water. My lord, you once said you would change this world for me. Were you sincere? Song-gu stammered, of course. Even though you might not understand my true intentions right now, I originally wanted to shake the foundation of this entire society indirectly. And now, the initial groundwork has been laid. As long as we produce rubber, we can consider developing the steam engine and liberate productivity. But you're leaving. The prince suddenly felt a pang in his chest. Everything you're saying now is just a pipe dream, my lord. You're deceiving me. And when you leave, you won't even look back. Song-gu panicked. It's not like that. I don't want to leave. I'm just giving you a heads up. If I can. But the words caught in his throat, although in his heart, staying here, or there was the same. If he really had to go back, he was afraid he would never see Prince Zhao again. Prince Zhao waited for him to speak. Tell me, if you can what? But Song-gu didn't answer. He couldn't control whether he stayed or left. However, his hesitation convinced Prince Zhao that Song-gu wanted to leave him and return to his world. He lifted Song-gu completely and pulled him into the tub. I understand, my lord. I understand your choice. Even if this is likely a final farewell. He then kissed him fiercely. At least at this moment, Song-gu was still in his arms. However, this suffocating action left Song-gu unable to resist. But in the next second, he realized something. Breaking free, Song-gu quickly asked, "Have your legs recovered a lot? And your eyes, can you?" But before he could finish, Prince Zhao pulled him into an embrace again. His grip was tight, as if afraid Song-gu would suddenly vanish. Song-gu panicked. There's still many things to arrange at the shop. Can you let me go first?" Prince Zhao simply replied, "It doesn't matter anymore." And he pressed close again. At this moment, Song-gu was like a frightened kitten, and Prince Zhao was gradually losing control. His gaze was no longer evasive, fixed on Song-gu. After saying the words he most wanted to say to Song-gu, he held Song-ji close again. But in the next second, Song-ji's soul was once again summoned by reality. His vision began to blur. "Prince Zhao, I might." At the same time, in another world, Song-gu slowly opened his eyes. His gradually clearing vision took in the modern medical equipment. Have I returned to the modern era? On the other side, Song-gu suddenly became unresponsive, alarming Prince Zhao. His expression shifted from confusion to terror. Trembling, he reached out to touch Song-ji's nose, but felt no breath. His heart shattered completely. He laughed derisively. Good, very good. The only sound in the room was his laughter. He had abandoned him, after all. Just like everyone else, he had cruelly cast him aside. From now on, he was alone again. His absurd life felt like a joke. Meanwhile, Song-gu, having regained consciousness, hadn't yet adjusted. He looked at the person talking in front of him. For a moment, he couldn't tell if the previous time travel had been a dream or reality. He could only try to restrain himself from thinking about it, pretending to ignore it and living his present life. Another year, the first snow fell. Prince Zhao, having lost Song-gu, maintained his usual outward appearance. Every day, he would attend to the ailing emperor. However, hidden from view, his heart was colder than the snow. Now, with nothing left to lose, it was time to take back everything. Just as the two were living their lives without each other, the gears of fate shifted once more. The prince, starved of love since childhood, had finally given his heart away, only to have his beloved transported back to the modern era. From then on, the darkened prince became completely unhinged. For Song-gu, back in the modern world, it felt like a dream. Yet, he also felt the loss of something precious. As they both lived their separate lives, the gears of fate turned again. After Song-ji's departure, the embittered Prince Zhao focused all his attention on the throne. Outwardly, he attended to the emperor's illness every day. In reality, he had already orchestrated everything. The emperor, informed of his consort's death, urged Prince Zhao to take care. "Your health is already poor. You should avoid overexertion." Prince Zhao's eyes were like an abyss. "But your majesty, having lost my mother and my wife, I cannot lose you too." Outside, the snow fell harder. Wu Qing, another time traveler and the female protagonist of the novel, realized she wasn't the only one from another world. In the original novel, Prince Zhao, due to his personality, never had a consort. Yet, here was a wife who had recently passed away and who had even opened several modern shops. Though she didn't know why the wife had suddenly died, everything was proceeding according to her calculations. The ninth prince, the male protagonist of the novel, praised her foresight. "Just as you predicted, father has caught a cold, but it doesn't seem serious." Wu Qing indicated this was just the beginning. Soon, the first prince, with the prime minister's help, would secretly worsen the emperor's condition. She would bribe the imperial physician to prescribe certain herbs. On the surface, they would appear to be tonics, but in reality, they would react negatively with other medications. That would be the perfect opportunity to overthrow the first prince. Unbeknownst to them, Prince Zhao was playing the long game, and he would completely shatter their plans. A month later, the emperor, enraged by the ninth prince's accusations against the first prince, ordered an investigation. The reviewed prescriptions revealed nothing unusual. The ninth prince, for his false accusations, was taken for questioning. It turned out the emperor, following Prince Zhao's advice, had feigned illness to test his son's loyalty. After this incident, the emperor realized his sons were all eager for his demise. Only Prince Zhao, who attended to him daily, was the one son who cared not for power or the throne. He even wanted to arrange another marriage for Prince Zhao, hoping he would find happiness again. But Prince Zhao politely declined. "Your Majesty, I know my fate is too strong." Even if I were to marry, I would only bring harm to the woman. He calmly took out his silver needles to treat the emperor. But in his heart, he no longer needed those things that could be taken from him at any moment, including a wife and the emperor himself. Meanwhile, after being discharged from the hospital, Song-gu tried to return to his normal life, suppressing thoughts of his time travel. However, upon learning that the person he was supposed to meet for work on the day of the incident was the author of Chung Wang, his jaw dropped. Lu Dai, looking at the vacant Song-gu in front of him, said, "Why do you seem so strange after your head injury? It's like you've been body snatched by someone from TV drama." "That's right, I've time traveled too." Lu Dai wiped a drop of sweat. "Seems like you're pretty sick." Song-gu decided to take over the collaboration again and go see Hui Hui, the author of the novel. So he started reviewing the novel Chung Wang. But this novel, shortly after being revised, had been on hiatus, and he tried various methods, but couldn't contact the author. Helpless, he could only go to the author's door in person and try his luck. But he rang the doorbell for a long time, and no one answered. For some reason, he had a bad feeling in his heart. At that moment, a woman came up behind him, and she happened to be the mother of the child Song-gu had risked his life to save before. Even more coincidentally, the author of Chung Wang was her nephew. Unfortunately, however, Xiao Ruo had fallen into a coma last month due to overwork. Even the doctors couldn't be sure when he would wake up. Song-gu was shocked. Last month, wasn't that around the same time he was in a coma? He stared blankly at the balcony filled with flowers and plants. The author's preferences were exactly the same as someone else's. As the woman went to the balcony to water the flowers, Song-gu was drawn to a picture frame on the table. Unable to see the photo, he stood rooted to the spot in disbelief. Seeing Song-gu staring intently, the woman came forward and said jokingly, "My nephew is handsome, isn't he? He's 27 this year and unmarried. When he wakes up, how about I introduce you to? Of course, if you have a boyfriend, then forget it." A tense Song-gu swallowed and said, "Of course, I don't have a boyfriend. If he wakes up, please do introduce us." The man in the photo brought his thoughts back again. He hadn't expected him to look exactly like Prince Zhao. In the days that followed, although he had many questions, he didn't want to explore the truth. He just wanted to forget everything about his time travel and return to a normal life. Until 2 months later, a car accident left his friend in a coma due to serious injuries. Just when he didn't know what to do, the long-gone system reappeared, and he would return to that world in this body. However, when the two met again, everything had changed. The former innocent lotus flower was no more. The girl who had traveled to ancient times and returned to modern times traveled back to ancient times again. But she found that the prince she longed for had already turned into a ruthless tyrant. Just now, Song-gu, having once again gained the opportunity to time travel, was standing in place. And to his surprise, Prince Zhao in the novel world was actually the author himself, and he had lost his memory when he time traveled. Therefore, he considered himself Prince Zhao. At this moment, Song-gu was shocked and terrified. So his father, the prince, had been the author himself all along. No wonder he always felt that Prince Zhao's personality was quite different from the original. It turned out that this was all a blunder caused by the system. But because Song-gu in the novel world had already died, this time, Song-gu could only travel back using his own body. And his mission this time was to push the story to its conclusion, thereby dissipating the obsession of that world. At that time, the author's soul would be able to return to reality, and he would also get a chance to have a wish fulfilled. In the blink of an eye, Song-gu traveled back to the novel world. Prepared, he carried a whole suitcase of modern supplies. Although he had already changed into a hanfu in advance, his neat short hair still made him look like an outsider. Seeing his long-lost companions again, Song-gu couldn't help but smile with joy. It felt so good. However, the current Song-gu was traveling in his own body. Therefore, in everyone's eyes, he was a strange stranger. So Song-gu lied and claimed to be Prince Zhao's consort's shadow, even expressing deep sorrow for the consort's death. Hearing about the consort from someone else, the people in Prince Zhao's residence were first surprised, then began to grieve. Seeing this, Song-gu felt a little helpless. So he quickly changed the subject. "This is shampoo. I will share this formula with everyone as a thank you for your hospitality today." At the gate of Prince Zhao's residence, it was the peach blossom season again. Back then, it was the first time he met him. Everything felt like a world away. If he were to see him with his current appearance, he would surely be frightened. Although he had only been gone for 2 months, 2 years had passed here. Climbing that tree once more, Song-gu wanted to take a look at the place where he used to live. He learned from Lin Yang that Prince Zhao was currently in the palace and not at the residence. Moreover, the emperor was still alive and well, not bedridden as described in the original story. Therefore, the first prince's faction hadn't had the opportunity to rebel. And the cause of this change must have been someone manipulating things from the shadows. Just as Song-gu was pondering the plot with a melancholic expression, an all too familiar figure appeared before his eyes. The wind blew, petals fell, and it felt as if something had pierced his heart. His whole body tense. Song-gu unconsciously held his breath. His heart was racing. He tried to stay calm, thinking that since his eyes were covered with a silk ribbon, he shouldn't have been noticed. He just needed to leave quietly. Otherwise, he would definitely be seen as a pervert peeping into someone else's privacy. But Prince Zhao had already sensed his presence. "Guest, you came here specifically to visit me. Why are you leaving in such a hurry?" With that, he shot out 2 hidden weapons, striking Song-ji's pressure points. Song-gu instantly lost mobility and couldn't move. As he slowly collapsed, he subconsciously cried out, "Prince Zhao, save me. I am Song-yi." The man's heart trembled at his words. He reached out and caught him. Then he tightly gripped his throat. At this moment, there was no joyful reunion, only a chilling, murderous aura. "What are you talking about?" Prince Zhao's questioning made Song-gu break out in a cold sweat. Why had the former White Lotus become so terrifying? He urged him to calm down, explaining that the situation was complicated. "In short, I am Song-gu, the real Song-gu. I've traveled back for some reason." But from the man's expression, he didn't seem to believe him. Song-gu was at his wit's end and even felt weak. The area where he had been hit by the hidden weapons had completely lost feeling. Could this guy have poisoned the needles? Unexpectedly, the man's grip tightened. Helpless, Song-gu could only continue to explain. "This body isn't Hizongshing's, so my appearance and voice are different. But I can tell you many things that only you would know." But before he could finish, the man interrupted him. "Silence. Song-gu is already dead. I personally buried him that day. You have no right to impersonate him." Just as Song-gu was trying to explain further, something unexpected happened. The love-starved prince finally fell in love, but his beloved traveled back to the modern world. Heartbroken, he completely transformed into a ruthless villain. Unexpectedly, the girl returned to this world in her original body, but the long-separated pair could no longer recognize each other. Just now, Song-gu, having traveled back again, finally saw the prince he had longed for. But because he had traveled back in his original body, he appeared to the prince as a suspicious stranger. Mistaken for an assassin, Song-gu could only keep explaining. "This is my true appearance. Although it's very different from Hizongshing's, my heart is exactly the same." The man's slender fingers ran through his hair and traced back and forth across his forehead. His smile was eerie, sending chills down one's spine. "Song-gu has a scar here, but you don't." Song-gu was going crazy. It seemed like none of his previous explanations had gotten through. "Do you know how many people want me dead? Perhaps it's because I've recently gained the emperor's favor and am about to be crowned crown prince, that those who wish for my demise are increasing." Song-gu felt a pang of heartache. He must have suffered a lot during his absence. Suddenly, Prince Zhao took out a pill from his pocket. Powerless to resist, Song-gu was forced to swallow it. Having been deceived multiple times, Prince Zhao no longer trusted anyone. "I must say, of all the pretenders, you're the most convincing." How amusing. Song-gu never imagined their reunion would be like this. "What did you give me?" "It's a puppet pill, a substitute for pressure point control to make you obedient. After taking it, every 3 days you'll experience excruciating pain, like your bones are being crushed. Only a special antidote can alleviate it." Song-gu had so many questions. The former Prince Zhao would never have done this, let alone use poison on someone. And what was this about being crown prince? But in the next second, the man let go, throwing him to the ground, stubborn to the end. If the girl doesn't take the antidote, she will die in excruciating pain. So, no matter who sent you, if you want to live, don't try any tricks. Song-gu lay leading on the ground. However, after the silver needles were knocked away, his body didn't seem as stiff as before. And this Prince Zhao was clearly different from the one described in the book. He no longer had the air of a gentle nobleman. In its place was a kind of cruelty. Although the system said that the Prince Zhao he knew was the novel's author from the modern world, how could this White Lotus suddenly turn into a man-eating flower? He was completely different. Even so, Song-gu still wanted to make one last attempt. "Does your highness still remember the agreement you made with your wife?" Prince Zhao, who had been leaving, stopped abruptly. He turned around, puzzled, and asked what he meant. Sangha struggled to sit up. Although it's been 2 years, I once said, thought that if I could triple your assets within 3 months, then my husband would have to unconditionally fulfill any request I made within a day. Now, triple the assets that IT really does seem quite similar. The man suddenly interrupted him. Sangha froze. The man turned around. Pretend to be him. If you do a good job, but then this prince might just spare your life. Sangha was stunned. What was he trying to do? Then Prince Zhao ordered Lin Yang to prepare a guest room for Sangha. Lin Yang looked at the girl in shock, thinking that she was quite bold to have caught the eye of her master. Sangha frantically shook his head, indicating it was a misunderstanding, but it clearly had no effect, because in the next second, he was thrown into the guest room, bag and all. For the next few days, Sangha didn't see Prince Zhao. Lin Yang's answer was always the same. His Highness is at the palace. He's not in the residence. He had thought he could quickly find Prince Zhao and explain the time travel situation, but now it seemed that everything was spiraling out of control. This time travel trip was truly ill-fated. Moreover, every 3 days, Sangha would suffer unbearable pain from the poison. His whole body felt like it was being gnawed by ants as he curled up in bed, drenched in cold sweat. He couldn't understand how Prince Zhao, who had been so gentle and considerate towards him before, could change so completely after switching bodies. Sangha was furious. Men really were pigs. But in the next second, he felt that it was all his own fault. If he hadn't left so suddenly before, perhaps things wouldn't have turned out this way. While Sangha was lost in thought, the long-absent Prince Zhao walked in. However, his next action, that was even more unexpected. The girl returned to the modern era, and then her original body returned to ancient times. But the prince she longed for had turned dark and sinister. Not only did he mistake her for an assassin, he even forced her to swallow a pill that caused excruciating pain throughout her body. Just as Sangha was trembling in agony, the prince, who had been absent for days, strolled in. I almost forgot you were here. If you don't take the antidote today, that you'll probably die in agony. Covered in cold sweat, Sangha trembled as he reached out a hand. Give me the antidote. However, Prince Zhao withdrew the bottle and placed it on a cabinet. Getting this isn't so easy. Tell me, who sent you here? And how do you know about Sangha? The man's sharp gaze seemed to want to devour him alive. Sangha was speechless. He let out a helpless chuckle. Isn't your highness being a bit too cautious? I've already told you many things that only you and I would know. Isn't that enough to prove my identity? Those few sentences seemed to have used up all his strength. Sangha hadn't expected the pill to be so potent. The previous Sangha could also say many things that only this prince knew. Besides, quite a few people know about the plot. Even Ninth Prince has a mysterious, prescient person by his side. So, even if you know those things, it doesn't prove anything. Now Sangha finally understood why he refused to believe him. Before returning to the modern era, he had learned from Su Baiwan that the goddess has told the Ninth Prince the entire contents of the original story. He can definitely deduce from the original story that Sangha is a variable that didn't exist in the novel. Coupled with those shops with modern ideas, he'll definitely guess that Sangha, like him, is a transmigrator. Perhaps they sent people to test Prince Zhao before, which is why he no longer trusts anyone. But now, Sangha was in so much pain that he was losing consciousness. If he didn't take the antidotes soon, he was afraid he would really die. Even though Sangha was in pain, Prince Zhao remained unmoved. Have you thought about confessing yet? There's nothing to confess. In unbearable pain, he gripped Prince Zhao's hand tightly. The antidote. Give me the antidote, please. Prince Zhao stood there, looking incredulous. It hurts. It really hurts. Please give me the antidote. Save me. Sangha, desperate to end the torment, continuously pleaded. At this moment, he had completely forgotten any pretense of pride. Unexpectedly, Prince Zhao flung his hand away. Sangha would never beg. Sangha coughed up blood in anger. If I had the strength, I wouldn't beg you, you ghost. But given the current situation, he had no chance to play any mind games. Doing so would only hasten his death. He decided to gamble. He bet that Prince Zhao would still recognize him somewhat and wouldn't actually be so ruthless. So, he grabbed Prince Zhao again. Please, save me. I'm really dying. Prince Zhao stared at him coldly, like an icy stone. He reached out and yanked Sangha up. How could I think you're him? You're nothing like him. With that, he let go, allowing Sangha to crash heavily to the ground. Then, he threw down a sentence, ridiculous, and turned to leave. Sangha lay on the ground in despair. Have I failed? But in the next second, Prince Zhao tossed the medicine bottle at his feet. Without a moment's hesitation, Sangha gulped it down, swallowing large mouthfuls. He choked, tried to eat too quickly. Driven by a powerful will to survive, he grabbed Prince Zhao, who was about to leave again. Water. Give me water. Prince Zhao was completely speechless. He waved his hand and flung the water bottle towards Song-ge. This woman is clearly not Song-ge. What am I so confused about? That's right, my Song-ge is already dead. Just like Mother said before, the only person I can trust is myself. Once I place my trust in someone, I must be prepared to be betrayed. I can't blindly trust or hope anymore, and I can't be fooled by anyone again. Song-ge, now recovered, allowed a long sigh. But when he looked up, Prince Zhao was already gone. Such a cold husband. What will it take to make him believe us? But it's enough. Although the former White Lotus has become a Black Lotus, he's still somewhat soft-hearted. Song-ge, his competitive spirit ignited, suddenly felt a surge of anticipation. It's been a long time since I've had such a challenging opponent. 4 days later, at dawn, to make this prickly Black Lotus obedient, Song-ge decided to use his ultimate move. After all, his little husband was someone who needed cuddles to be coaxed. They were husband and wife. Unexpectedly, his wife accidentally traveled back to the modern world. This caused the prince to become incredibly dark and brooding. Soon, his wife returned to the past, but with her appearance completely changed. She was mistaken by the prince as a spy sent by the enemy. To prove that she was his princess, Song-ge decided to take a unique approach. He found Prince Zhao and said he wanted to make a deal with him to cure his eyes. Prince Zhao, who suffered from night blindness, was filled with suspicion, but Song-ge deliberately leaned in close. I wonder, my lord, if you would tell me the true condition of your eyes. Then, while Prince Zhao was off guard, he kissed his eyes. Startled, Prince Zhao instinctively struck out, sending Song-ge flying several meters away. Insolent, you're courting death. Song-ge lay on the ground, coughing violently. However, he wasn't surprised by this reaction. After all, Prince Zhao didn't have an omniscient perspective and couldn't be sure whether other transmigrators would learn about the past and use it to deceive him. It would be naive to believe anyone who claimed to know him. Fortunately, Song-ge had anticipated this and worn protective padding to test Prince Zhao's limits. At the same time, Prince Zhao also noticed something unusual. With a ripping sound, Song-ji's homemade protective vest was exposed. Startled, Song-ge quickly covered himself. Please conduct yourself with more decorum. This is inappropriate in broad daylight. Prince Zhao frowned slightly, unwilling to say more. He roughly pulled Song-ge up from the ground. Gasping for breath, Song-ge tightly gripped Prince Zhao's hand. Although Prince Zhao's reaction was excessive, at least he could confirm one thing. That is, Prince Zhao had strong feelings for the former Song-ge, and he was deliberately being intimate with him to provoke his anger. He was waiting for this moment of close proximity. Song-ge took out the pre-hidden anesthetic needle and injected Prince Zhao. I'm sorry, he said. Looking at Prince Zhao gradually losing strength, he felt helpless. He didn't want to use this self-defense tool on his husband. But who could blame him when this little devil wouldn't give him a chance to explain? My husband, don't worry. This is similar to an anesthetic. It won't harm you. This is purely a last resort. Seeing the other party remain silent, Song-ge added, this drug only weakens the body and prevents movement. It won't cause you to lose consciousness. You can still speak. Looking at the torn clothes, Song-ge sighed helplessly. What is all this? When we met before, you were always clinging to me. Of course, it's also my fault. If I hadn't left so suddenly, I could have explained things to you. Was there someone pretending to be me and testing you? Is that why you don't dare to recognize me, thinking that if you make a mistake, you'll be betraying the former me? But Prince Zhao, whose silk ribbon had been untied, remained extremely cold. If it were before, he would definitely put on a vulnerable act to seek comfort. But his silence explained everything. During these 2 years of separation, Prince Zhao's life was most likely very difficult. My husband, why don't you speak? You should know that if I really meant you harm, you would already be dead. So I have no ill intentions towards you. On the contrary, I'm quite fond of you. Actually, during this period of separation, Song-ge often pondered one question. Had he truly fallen for Prince Zhao? Although he always kept himself busy, he still couldn't help but think of him. Did he eat well while he was gone? Did he sleep well? Would he be sad because of his departure? But now he understood. Even if the Prince Zhao before him was the author himself, it didn't matter. Because the person he cared about was the one he had been with day and night. The sudden closeness made Prince Zhao's heart tighten. But Song Ge didn't want to stop there. After all, his husband had always liked this kind of intimacy. Song Ge was captivated by the peach blossom scent on Prince Zhao. However, their intimate interaction made 11, hiding in the tree, quite awkward. Was his master being taken advantage of? But his master had instructed him to only watch the girl and not act without orders. 11 was on pins and needles. The girl just said that although the prince couldn't move, he could speak. So why hadn't the prince given any orders? Just one word, and he could instantly kill the girl. Heavens, what should he do? At this moment, Prince Zhao, whose heart was racing from being teased, finally spoke. Girl, what are you trying to do? Right now, I just want to kiss you, and then tell you everything that happened after I time traveled from beginning to end. 11, who thought he was about to receive an order, instantly crumbled. What the heck? They're actually chatting now. Humming a tune, Song Ge pushed Prince Zhao back into the room. I didn't expect this bedroom to be the same as before. It hasn't changed. Prince Zhao, unable to move, made a sour face. Get to the point. I've already told you a lot of things that only the two of us know, but I suppose you have your own considerations, so I can only explain the whole story to you like this. So, Song Ge recounted everything that happened after he returned to the modern world. After the time it takes an incense stick to burn, Prince Zhao, who was already mostly convinced, deliberately pretended not to understand. I am Prince Zhao. I'm not the author you speak of. It's normal for you to find it bizarre, but you can ignore that for now. In short, if I were a spy sent by some faction, I would never use such an absurd story to gain your trust. Many have tried to deceive this prince with similar, ambiguous words. Besides, you just poisoned me. That wasn't poison, brother. If you weren't so unwilling to calmly communicate with me, I wouldn't have used it. Song Ge turned, looking into Prince Zhao's eyes. I'm guessing your eyes haven't reached the point of blindness yet. I've been curious about this since before I left. If you don't want to die, my lady, don't refrain from asking questions. Prince Zhao's stubborn silence left Song Ge speechless. Fine, I won't ask, since my husband has spared my life. Could you perhaps remove the 3-day poison from my body? Prince Zhao haughtily turned his face away, ignoring him. I advise you not to waste your energy. Unexpectedly, Song Ge stepped forward again and injected him. Why is my little husband ignoring me again? The woman who had traveled back to modern times finally returned to ancient times, that only to be mistaken for a spy by her own husband, to prove that she was indeed his princess. Song Ge could only resort to special measures to explain herself. Since your highness has no intention of killing me at present, why not continue to observe my conduct in the future? And I, likewise, will express my goodwill in my own way. Although Prince Zhao remained aloof and unwilling to acknowledge her, he was at least no longer as resistant to Song Ge as he had been initially. Perhaps it was because their separation 2 years prior had been too abrupt, or perhaps it was the helplessness of a prince. After this, Prince Zhao remained preoccupied with various matters and did not appear before Song Ge again. He only regularly sent Lin Yang with the antidote. And Song Ge, taking the antidote on time, no longer experienced excruciating pain. However, during these days of solitary confinement, Song Ge learned of the 9th prince's collusion with the 1st prince, causing the emperor great displeasure. Therefore, not long after, the emperor resolved to appoint Prince Zhao as the crown prince. But in reality, the old emperor's favorite had always been the 3rd prince, born to the noble consort. And Crown Prince Zhao, with his disabilities, was destined to be excluded from the throne. The old emperor's reason for appointing him as crown prince was merely to make him a shield for his future brothers. Soon, Song Ge moved into the Eastern Palace with Prince Zhao. She hadn't expected that upon her return, Prince Zhao would already be the crown prince. She looked at him curiously. Will we be able to return to Zhao Wangfu in the future? It will be difficult to leave the palace from now on, won't it? It doesn't matter. Father's health is failing. He's worried about the Chu army amassing strength, but also concerned about the 1st prince harming the 3rd prince. That's why he entrusted me with this position. His Majesty understands my desire for a peaceful life and knows I'm not suited for the throne. Therefore, he won't restrict my movements in and out of the Eastern Palace. When the time is right, the third prince will ascend the throne, and I can return to being Prince Zhao. This was the agreement we made long ago. But unseen by Song Ge was the extreme coldness in Prince Zhao's eyes. He had spent 2 full years to lower the old emperor's guard and be appointed crown prince. Song Ge was puzzled. Didn't you have no interest in the throne before? Why are you actively wading into these murky waters now? Prince Zhao suddenly clenched his fist. Who told you I had no interest? He discarded the flower petals in his hand, as if discarding his former self. Song Ge looked at the familiar, yet strange Prince Zhao. Could it be that he had always wanted that position from the very beginning? Seeing that Prince Zhao was about to dismiss her, Song Ge quickly changed the subject. Did you take the medicine I gave you before? It's vitamin to alleviate night blindness. Although I don't know the specifics of your eye condition, it's very beneficial for your eyes. The proud prince turned away. Although he had already taken it, he claimed he never consumed anything of unknown origin. The unsuspecting Song Ge followed him, fuming. If you don't take it, don't blame me for secretly forcing it down your throat. Unexpectedly, Prince Zhao stopped abruptly. I almost forgot to mention, from today onwards, you are my personal attendant. Please shoulder the responsibilities that come with it. Going from princess to attendant, Song Ge felt somewhat resigned. Since I'm your personal attendant, does that mean I'll have more opportunities to be alone with you? The next day, Song Ge sought out Su Baiwan, who was also a transmigrator, to vent her frustrations. Su Baiwan hadn't expected to see her friend again after 2 years. If possible, she also wished to return to her own world as quickly as Song Ge. Elsewhere, the 9th prince, having failed to become crown prince, was exceptionally agitated. According to the divine maiden, he was the one destined for power in this novel's world. But now, that cripple, Prince Zhao, sat on the throne. Seeing this, Wu Qing could only continuously console him. After all, Prince Zhao's deceased wife was also a transmigrator. She must have revealed the plot to him, so it was normal for the current plan to fail. Now, with both sides having equal information, we don't have much of an advantage. We can only proceed cautiously. Wu Qing looked at the 9th prince with some exasperation. Could it be that revealing the original stories ending in advance would actually make someone lose their composure? The 9th prince grabbed Wu Qing's hand. I will always believe in the divine maiden. Once I ascend to that position, I will let millions know of my love for you. And at that time, you will become my empress. These words brought a blush to Wu Qing's face. He reached out and held her. If he could, he didn't want to return to the real world. He wanted to stay here forever, even if it meant death. He would rather die here. One soul, 2 bodies. Before, he was Prince Zhao's beloved princess consort. Now, he was just a humble personal servant by Prince Zhao's side. Song Ge, having returned to his original body, never expected this. Not only did he not experience the joy of reunion, he was almost killed by his own husband, who mistook him for an assassin. Now his husband was the crown prince, but he was still a lowly servant. Song Ge took out a bottle and let out a sinister chuckle. He sprinkled the prepared pills into the tea. Suddenly, a voice drifted from behind him. What are you doing? Startled, Song Ge nearly jumped out of his skin. This guy was clearly in a wheelchair. How did he get in without a sound? He quickly brushed away the remaining powder and claimed he was preparing a tonic. Then, solicitously, he pushed Prince Zhao to the table. He figured since Prince Zhao's eyes were covered with a silk ribbon, he wouldn't have seen anything. After all, he had only sprinkled vitamins. Even if it were poison, the silver needle wouldn't detect it. The man held his chopsticks, speechless. Then, with a sigh, he put down his chopsticks. I can't see the food, so I won't eat, he said, preparing to leave. But the next second, Song Ge grabbed him. It doesn't matter if you can't see. I'll feed you. He had gone to so much trouble to administer the drug. How could he let him leave now? Force-fed, Prince Zhao broke out in a sweat. This woman really liked testing his blindness. He hadn't wanted to open his mouth, but he swallowed it in one gulp. Even if she was testing him, it wouldn't affect the imminent outcome. Then he asked for water. Song Ge happily brought the drugged tea. He poured it all down in one go. Prince Zhao, nearly choking, pushed the cup away. That's enough. No more. Only then did he realize that the medicine tasted the same as the so-called vitamins. This woman seemed to be showing her concern in a rather toxic way. I have a task for you now. I need you to leave the palace and go to Lin Yang's place. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard munching sounds. Are you stealing my food? Song Ge, who had just taken a bite of sweet cake, froze. Oh, how could I? Then he stuffed the half-eaten pastry into the man's mouth. Your Highness, you want me to investigate our current businesses, right? Prince Zhao was utterly speechless. This woman really was stealing food. Uncomfortable, he urged Song Ge to leave and handle the task, promising a reward if it was completed successfully. Song Ji's eyes crinkled into crescents. And what will this reward be? Will you admit that I am Song Ge? I will promise you the answer to one question. No matter what you ask, I will answer truthfully. Originally, Prince Zhao had intended to offer 3 questions as a bargain, but he had a feeling this woman would take advantage and completely expose him, so he changed it to 1. However, Song Ji's face was filled with displeasure. Is your Highness serious? Before, you bet with me that if I won, I could do whatever I wanted with you. But you still went back on your word. Fuming, Song Ge continued to stuff his pockets with pastries while complaining. Ever since his wife had made that bet, he then watched as Song Ge grabbed another handful of pastries. Was this woman planning to pilfer the crown prince's entire meal? But I am your wife. Song Ge was truly exasperated. This man was not only blind, but also dense. Dejected, Song Ge hung his head. Aren't you worried that if I really am Song Ge, I would be heartbroken by how you're treating me? Indeed, the man replied casually, leaving Song Ge speechless. That reaction was incredibly cold. I know Song Ge is not a weak person. If you are truly Song Ge, I will spend the rest of my life repaying you 100-fold, 1,000-fold. He had been telling himself not to be soft-hearted, but at the same time, he was also waiting for a miracle he no longer believed in. After leaving the palace, Song Ge busied himself with business matters. Meanwhile, somewhere in the Eastern Palace, Prince Zhao removed his disguise. His vision was noticeably clearer. Since this is effective, the original plan can be moved forward. The next day, Song Ge got the ledger from Qian Xiu. However, he now had a new identity. Therefore, in the eyes of others, he was Prince Zhao's capable assistant. Song Ge just didn't expect that Qian Xiu and Tang Jiu, who clearly liked each other, still hadn't confessed their feelings after 2 years. A woman suddenly interrupted their idle chat. Song Ge looked warily at the veiled person before him. Unexpectedly, the other party introduced herself and said she had a mutually beneficial collaboration to propose. Song Ji's heart tightened. Wu Qing, the transmigrator by the 9th prince's side, had actually sought him out. The prince, starved of love since childhood, finally fell in love, only to have his beloved transmigrate back to the modern world. Heartbroken, he devoted himself to pursuing the throne, only to have his beloved transmigrate back in her original body. But with her appearance completely changed, she became a stranger in the prince's eyes. Just after leaving the palace and returning to his room, Song Ge found Prince Zhao already asleep. He quietly walked to the bedside. Indeed, Prince Zhao was more familiar when he was asleep, unlike his cold and distant demeanor when awake. He had rarely seen him so relaxed since the second transmigration. He had always thought that as long as Prince Zhao became emperor, he could return to his former life and have nothing to do with this place anymore. Therefore, he never considered Prince Zhao's feelings, although he didn't want to admit it. Even without his eye and leg ailments, Prince Zhao wasn't suited for that position, regardless of whether he was the original author or not. In his eyes, Prince Zhao, when free of burdens, preferred playing the qin and tending to flowers. During the day, he met Wu Qing, another transmigrator, outside the palace. To help the 9th prince ascend the throne, Wu Qing, unaware of Song Ji's identity, offered to cooperate. He hoped to have Prince Zhao relinquish his position as crown prince without harming anyone. Song Ge pretended to be interested, but a new plan formed in his mind. Song Ge gently touched Prince Zhao's lips, his heart aching for his plight. He always felt that Prince Zhao wasn't enthusiastic about becoming emperor, but rather like he was being forced to complete a task. Perhaps he could use Wu Qing to let him live a different life. After a long while, Prince Zhao, pretending to be asleep, sat up and looked at the sleeping Song Ge for a long time. Gently, he brushed aside the hair that had fallen over Song Ji's ear. Holding back for so long, he whispered in his heart to Song Ge, I miss you. I really miss you. But I can't think about you yet. He let the longing he had held for 2 years fall as a gentle kiss. He had asked himself countless times during this period, is he really Song-ge? Yes, he was definitely Song-ge. His Song-ge had really returned. Even though he had been skeptical at first, unable to believe that Song-ge could transmigrate back to his side again, it had become increasingly clear during their recent interactions. He had the same sharpness as Song-ge, his actions precise and quick. He had the same preferences as Song-ge, favoring the same kind of fruit, and those little-known habits of Song-ji's, like a young lady sleeping sprawled out. And his every smile and frown had surfaced in his mind constantly during the long years of his absence, continuously gnawing at his thoughts and sleep. At this moment, he could be absolutely certain that the person before him was the very Song-ge he had always loved. Carefully, he lifted him and placed him on his own bed. He wondered if Song-ge had used his real body for this transmigration, and if that meant that as long as his real body was here, he wouldn't go back. But he couldn't reveal himself yet, because the next steps couldn't go wrong. To ascend to that position, there was a price to pay. It wouldn't be beneficial for Song-ge to know too much, and he didn't want Song-ji's hands stained with blood. Imitating what Song-ge had just done, he leaned down and kissed his lips. Wait a little longer. It's almost over. Early the next morning, Song-ge, preparing to leave the palace, walked hurriedly. He was utterly distraught. What did he mean by almost over? He had originally planned to feign sleep to hear Prince Zhao's true feelings. But this guy didn't say anything. I only know he's planning something. But what exactly is he planning? That sixth prince definitely recognized me. He's clearly hiding it on purpose. Even if I confront him now, he definitely won't answer. I might even alert him and lose my freedom. Good heavens, a perfectly good married couple has turned into Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The sounds of a commotion nearby suddenly caught Song-ji's attention. The first prince's eldest son and the second prince's eldest son were ganging up on the third prince's eldest son. Judging by the time, these children should have just finished class. So Song-ge called out in a falsetto voice, "The governess is coming. You'll be in trouble if you're caught." Upon hearing this, the three little boys took off running. The little boys struggled to get up. Just my luck. Of all the people to transmigrate into, I end up as a bullied little kid. Just a moment ago, he was on his way to a blind date when he was hit by a car. He thought his life was over. But when he opened his eyes again, he had inexplicably transmigrated to ancient times and was bound to the Meow Meow system. And the key to this become the King system. That was his favorite novel. Suddenly, a figure appeared before him, and he looked exactly like Song-ge. "Are you all right? Do you need me to help you up?" Lu Dai sat up in surprise. Could there be people who look exactly alike in different worlds? Song-ge, having transmigrated a second time, couldn't believe it. His husband clearly recognized him, but refused to acknowledge him, just as he was anxiously preparing to leave the palace. That he encountered a very peculiar little boy. He was at a loss for what to do. "Miss Palace Maid, do you know Lu Dai?" Song-ge froze on the spot. Lu Dai was his boss's name. Could he have transmigrated too? Or were the ninth prince and Wu Qing's faction testing him? Unable to determine the other party's intentions, Song-ge pretended to ask how to write the two characters, offering to help inquire about him. "Never mind, maybe I'm overthinking it." Lu Dai turned around, looking disappointed. But in the next second, he was pulled back by a large hand. "Mr. Lu Dai." Lu Dai, having transmigrated, was so excited he almost couldn't speak. He took a deep breath to compose himself. Then he shouted, "Tianwang Gai Di Hu." Song-ge was dumbfounded. Then, with a look of disgust, he released his hand. "Don't tell me you expect me to answer Bao Ta Zheng He Yao. Why, it really is my Song-ge." Meanwhile, the emperor's illness was worsening, and Prince Zhao, as usual, was attentively treating him, seemingly considerate in every way. But in reality, Prince Zhao knew better than anyone. He had prolonged the emperor's life 2 years ago with a little-known potent medicine. Now, the effects were gradually wearing off and reversing. He estimated at most 6 months, or 3 months if left untreated. That would be the time of the dog emperor's demise. Elsewhere, upon hearing there were 4 transmigrators, Lu Dai was stunned. He hadn't expected this world to be even crazier than he imagined. Song-ge hadn't expected this either. He had been worried about Lu Dai back in the hospital, and now they had met here. Fortunately, their mission objectives were the same, and they could work together. Now, the only one on the opposing side was Wu Qing, who was with the ninth prince, at a restaurant outside the palace. Wu Qing, hosting a women's gathering, specifically invited Song-gu to join. Fortunately, Song-gu had been wearing a wig and using the alias Lu Taohua since entering the palace, so no one recognized him as the former Princess Zhao. The dishes in this restaurant are quite unique. Did you open this place, Miss Wu? Wu Qing smiled faintly. In the real world, she was just an ordinary person. She wasn't exceptionally beautiful or intelligent. No matter how hard she tried, she was constantly met with disapproval. Over time, she stopped having expectations for anything. She not only loathed everything around her, and even came to hate this world. The reborn Wu Qing smiled faintly. Not only did she generously admit to managing this matter herself, but she also indicated that the crown prince, after 2 years of reflection, hadn't made any new moves in a long time. But Miss Lu is still young. Rather than devoting herself entirely to the crown prince, it would be better to place some of her bets on me. I mentioned a collaboration when we met before. Now I can tell you, I plan to create a wave of public opinion to send off those who should leave and to elevate those who should ascend to that position. And Miss Lu, you only need to cooperate and answer a few questions. You don't need to do too much. Afterwards, Wu Qing got up and invited everyone to the inner court to enjoy some beauty treatments. Song-gu stood up languidly. It seems his true identity was completely unsuspected. He had heard before that there was a force copying the types and operation methods of businesses and shops. Now it seems that's Wu Qing's doing. As a transmigrator, he clearly received a mission, but ultimately chose to help the ninth prince. What is the reason that makes him not want to return to reality? Song-gu casually followed Wu Qing to the tea house next door. I accept your collaboration. What would you like to know? In the blink of an eye, night had fallen. Returning to the Eastern Palace, Song-gu wearily pushed open the door. Unexpectedly, Wu Qing asked a lot about Prince Zhao and his former wife. Fortunately, he could use the recipes left by the former wife as an explanation. Although the system mission only required Prince Zhao to become emperor, it didn't specify which country's emperor he should become. At this moment, a maid rushed over Sister Tao. You're back. His Highness the Crown Prince is looking for you. Song-gu, who was acting as Lu Taohua, froze. This alias is truly vulgar, he thought. Song-gu asked with a puzzled look, what does he want with me? His Highness seems to need you. To attend to him in his bedchamber. Hearing the words attend to him, Song-gu was instantly thunderstruck. He burst out laughing and stumbled backward. What the hell? There must be some mistake. But when he sprinted to Prince Zhao's room, he found that the other party had already fallen asleep. He had thought Prince Zhao was ready to come clean and acknowledge him. It turned out he was getting excited for nothing. Song-gu sat quietly to the side, feeling somewhat lost. This guy sure sleeps soundly. Unexpectedly, in the next second, he was pulled over by a large hand. What's he doing?